Who's got that Friday feeling? We have here on Racing Post Live. Welcome back. Third day of the St Leger Festival, second here for us on RP Live with the Betfair Exchange. Myself, Dave Orton, delighted to be back with you. Let's hear from you out there. Get your social media comments in, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook Live. Welcome back. What a day we have. Fair to say the quality's ramping up slightly. And with that, without further ado, let's go to our panel. Delighted to tell you we've all got the Friday feeling. Tony Ennis joins us back in the show. Top course commentator, lead Sky presenter, all-round wrong'un in the studio with us. Got loads of opinions today, Tony. You're going to be taking the commentaries for us.
Yes.
Give it some welly, yeah?
Yeah, going to do the commentaries, Dave, and bring you guys in for a bit of mid-race analysis. Bring Barry in for a bit of see what the prices are doing as well during the race. But yeah. Commentaries and hopefully some winners.
And you're playing along the way?
Yeah, we'll try and find a few. I'm against some of the short ones today. Normally I'm with them, but a couple I think we can get beat today. I think
you don't mind a skinny one, do you? Let's face it.
Usually, yeah. But I think I don't know. It's been a tough week, isn't it? I think so far the first 2 days, not easy. But I think the quality is improving as we head towards Saturday.
Well, that's how it should be. What a weekend we've got lined up as well. 5 beauties, though, we've got for you here on the show. 2 handicaps starting off with the Mallard at 140. We've then got 6.5 furlong handicap. That looks pretty tasty. The Flying Childers, of course. The 2-year-old sizzling along. Ooh, we've got a short one in that. Doncaster Cup at 3.15 and 3.45. We'll be signing off with the Flying Scotsman listed race. 2-year-olds over 7 furlongs. Some classy sorts in that. Classy sorts also on the panel include Graeme Rodway back in the studio. First time you've done this show since Cheltenham.
Yeah, first day at Cheltenham.
The big bear himself is back. The flying bear we should call you, shouldn't we? Because your upturn has changed, hasn't it? You've gone woo with your form right through the roof.
I think last week I sat here and said to you it's been terrible, and this week's been completely opposite, so that's good.
You've done nothing different? Just
nothing different, and they're just all winning now. But that's setting yourself up for a fall, that is. Now they're probably all going to run terribly. That's what usually happens.
It's possible. I'd never set you up for a fall. That'd be ridiculous. One man that will never fall, Betfair's big hitter himself across the Irish Sea, going to Dublin. Back to Barry Orr's famous room. Indeed it is. There we are, Barry. We well?
Yeah, all right, lads.
Happy days. The nap went in yesterday, Barry. Pista for Joseph O'Brien. You're saying, for those that want to know about it, loads of good comments about that I saw overnight. Aye, Barry and the team with Pista. Loads of people back that. Thank you for that. You say that Joseph O'Brien's superstar. I'm going to call her that. May go to France tonight weekend?
That's what I'm told, yeah. I just spoke to someone very, very briefly about it last night, and they said that more than likely she'll be heading to France Arc weekend and not the UK for the Champions weekend.
Yeah, which he was getting quoted for. So without further ado, let's get into this first race for you out there. Welcome along. Let's see if we can find you the winner. I mentioned Barry's nap. Oh, he didn't have to wait long for it at the start of the show. Barry, take it away.
Yeah, I fancy the Afatik, John Gosson's horse that came back after a lengthy spell on the sidelines, won off 94 in York, only really got going the last couple of furlongs, just toughed it out. Looked a horse that would come on considerably for that run as well. And he's rated 99 now, so not unduly burdened with a £5 penalty for that win in York. I think I did read in the comment section that John Gosson did say prior to that race in the write-up that he's particularly hard to get fit, this horse, so he should come on significantly for that. And at around the 2-1 mark, a little bit over 2-1, I think he's 305 at the moment. So I'm going to have a 50 quid win on that for the charity, who I believe is retraining of racehorses today.
Yeah, ROR. Check out the website, ROR, Retraining of Racehorses. We did that at the Haydock Sprint Cup meeting last weekend. It went particularly well. Great cause that is. There's a bit of an influx at the moment of these retired racehorses. They need rehoming. So we're going to try and win some money for them along the week.
And Graeme's going to place that bet there now, is he? So, Graeme, if you just go to the market, Al Fatik should be at the head of the market, 305. Just a 3.10, even better. Okay, we'll take that price for 50 quid. So, just in the stake section, in your 50 quid, place bet. We should be matched instantly.
There we go. He has drifted out a little bit, Barry, hasn't he? I can see him down at the start, by the way. He looks really well.
Glad to hear that. Yeah, I wouldn't be too overly concerned. Like, his price is always going to be around 2 to 1, 9 to 4, isn't it? He's not going to go much over that or under that.
Doesn't look like there's been too much money for anything else though, Barry, just while I've got you on this market. Maybe Apparate's coming in. Did it get the rub of the green at Ascot last time?
Yeah, disappointed when he was favourite in Ascot, although he had been off for 274 days. But still, you would have liked to see him run better than that. There has been some money for Solo Saxophone. It was a big price on the sports book, into around the 14 to 1 mark now. So if you're looking for an outsider, and it's the dead 8 to each way puncher, Solo Saxophone is the one they were looking at.
Okay, we've got some breaking news for you quickly, actually, before we go. They're just ambling down at the start for the first race here, the 140, the Mallard handicap over 1.6. Breaking news. Barry, this is interesting. I'm going to come to you with this. Galileo Chrome's intended rider, Shane Cross. Huge day tomorrow at Doncaster for Shane Cross. He has tested positive for COVID-19.
No.
Yeah,
Jamie.
Unbelievable
Wow.
scenes. Now, this is something that we thought we might have seen a bit more of, isn't it, chaps, so far? One jockey getting it at a meeting or something like that. Luckily, I mean, Shane, we hope you're all right, first and foremost. That's great. That's crushing news for him. But listen, lads, it's been a week, hasn't it? Yeah, go on, Barry.
I wonder how that would impact, obviously, Joseph O'Brien's yard, because Shane Cross, a valued member of the team down there in owning on the hill, and would be there every morning riding out. And, that could have significant implications on the yard.
And he rode at Navan, didn't he, as well, 2 days ago? So
he's riding particularly well at the moment, Shane. A lot of people have got him here across for the big job at Tipperary in a few years' time. Of course, he started off there. Okay, listen, that's breaking. You can get that in your members section. Go to the website. I hope you've been looking at your replays. Barry is all over this favourite. I'm going to jump in now, lads, with my selections as well. I think Al Fatik is the one that's going to be well ahead of its mark. I looked at last year's winner's Sleeping Lion, Graeme, and I'm worried about the lack of pace in there. Spencer gets back on that, but he needed to be his very best, Spencer, when winning on Sleeping Lion last time. So it's Afatik for me and Barry. Graeme?
I thought Afatik was a bit obvious. Just sort of look at him. He's a bit obvious, isn't he? Like
Dream of Dreams last Saturday that you punted out 2 points in the paper.
I just thought this one just looked a bit too obvious. I mean, he might well win. If he wins, he'll probably win this well. But, yeah, I looked closely at Sleeping Lion as well. But, like you say, Jamie Spencer alluded to this. He said there's a bit of a lack of pace in this race. And this is also does need an absolute hold-up ride. Now, those sort of tactics are suited to this track.
Yeah,
over
who might go
6.
on? Who might go on?
Well, I'm hoping that Hockfeld might be up there, the Johnston runner.
You put this up in the paper today, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, Sylvester de Souza won't be messing around, will he? If there's no pace, he's the sort of jockey you don't hang around. So
Apparate, you think might be up there?
Yeah, Apparate's possible.
High Wells.
Sometimes you can overthink yourself, can't you? You can think, there's going to be no pace in this race, and then all of a sudden they go bonkers pace. It's hard to guess, isn't it?
Have you mapped out the pace, and have you mapped out a winner for us? You don't like Afatik, Tony?
Don't like Afatik.
What's the matter with you?
Too short. He's going to bounce as well. That was his first run for 14 months.
If you're a fan of the bounce factor this year, you've been having nightmares, haven't you? Because horses turning out, you see single figures all the time. But I'm with Barry. I think if you did read John Gosden's comments, and let's face it, it's in Gosden we trust, he has been tricky to get. He should be absolutely peaking second timer. Who is the winner? Calculation
wins it, I think. He made the running when he won at Chelmsford. I don't think he'll make the running, but he can. He's versatile. He made the running when he won at Chelmsford, when Louis Stewart rode him. He's normally held up. I thought he ran a good race at Sandown last time. I think he could be interesting. William Buick could be full of confidence as well, but he just won the previous race.
Yes, he did, didn't he? It was a tight finish to our first race. We're going to try and get the time of that race for you. Look, all real-time analysis here on Racing Post Live. You'll be getting that throughout the afternoon. Reactions during the race, if you know you love to see them. But we do give you the analysis as well. They're creeping in to the stalls. So hopefully you have had time to react. Whichever way you're playing, let us know. Get your social comments in. We'll give you a shout out, if they're within reason, of course. Oh, big breaking news. Shane Cross then. What a ride that would have been on Galileo Crime. Huge player in the ledger tomorrow. That will be breaking the story, developing on the website as we go. So, Tony, I'm not going to do the commentator's curse and throw over to you too early, but I think we've just one more going in, is it?
Yep, just Sleeping Lion, previous winner of the race. This famous Mary Fox colours going forward now. Purple Moon colours, of course. And they're off, jumped away for the Bet365 Mallard handicap, 1 mile, 6.5 furlongs. Where will the pace come from? And it is Hochfeld as Graeme suggested, will make the running. To in second place, Solo Saxophone, who's won over hurdles before. Racing in third is High Wells, the outsider. Apparate's got a nice sit in fourth place, looking for calculation in fifth. And then comes Volcanic Sky to the outside. The favourite, Alfartique, is one from last and held up, surprise, surprise, by a certain JP Spencer, Sleeping Line at the back.
Don't look to be going too fast, Barry. How's the market manoeuvring?
Hasn't changed much at all, really, lads. 9-4, Afatique. Falcon Sky, 9-4. Yeah, that's what he went off at. I think it's Betfair SP at 3.15, so not far off that. And he's hovering around that mark. Apparate currently about 6.8. He's probably just the one that's shortened up most.
He's got a lovely position, G, hasn't he? Look at Spencer out the back, doing what Spencer does best. Wait. A little bit keen, Sleeping Line to my eye.
Yeah, I don't think they're going very, very slowly. He seems to be setting a fairly even tempo on the lead, I think, on Hockfeld. This is kind of how I was hoping this race might pan out. Now, whether Hockfeld can go on and win from here, we'll see. But certainly at this stage, I was kind of hoping that Hockfeld might go and make it, and he is.
He's just running slightly in snatches to my eye, Tony Ennis Afatique.
Yeah, I just saw Jim Crowley. He's moving his arms a bit, isn't he? I mean, got to be drifting now, isn't he, from that 2-1. Surely Alfartique has got bigger. Calculation, I don't think is going to do it from back there. I'd want to see him a bit closer to the pace, to be honest. Sleeping Line's the one who's probably still travelling best of all at this stage. He and Apparate, they're the ones that are going well, I think, off the pace, aren't they? But the leader, Hockfeld, must still be fairly with a bit of a shout, mustn't he? He's travelling all right in front still.
He's got a freebie. Graeme, you must be happy with that.
Yeah, he's fairly short in running now. I think he's half his price, around 6-1 there in running. So
the one we haven't mentioned is Volcanic Sky for the boys in blue. Kieran Fallon, what a season he's having. A little bit to find on his last run, but come back to his all-weather form. He's got a nice one. Barry, they're about to turn in. Any moves?
Yeah, Fatigue out to 5.1 now. And Hockfield is currently 9.6. Sleeping Line, your new favourite, at 4.
He's making a move now, Afatique. Tony, pick it up.
Sleeping Lion still going well, but he's got to pass them all. Hockfeld leading to High Wells in second. Solo Saxophone in third. Volcanic Sky is moving well in the all blue colours. Just in behind Apparate, yet to be asked a question. He's not travelling, is he, Alfartique? Crowley definitely pushing him along. Calculation in behind just starts to get a wriggle on as well and still waiting. Spencer, Sleeping Lion. Spencer still asleep at the back, but he'll wake him up soon. Hockfeld now flat to the boards. Volcanic Sky is moving really well
High
for young
Wells.
Kieran Fallon. High Wells is still there. Calculation not today. Alfartique looks flat to the boards from there. Apparate still has a chance, but it's Volcanic Sky in front. Apparate could be the danger, but he can't get through.
He's
Slightly
coming,
squeezed
Afatique.
up
It's
now.
too late.
Too late, surely. Volcanic Sky. But look at this High Wells battling back.
Come on, Afatique.
Now Alfartique is getting into it on the outside. He is coming for
Come
Crowley.
on, Jim.
Yeah,
Get
he's
this
fine.
up. Come on, you go over the top, surely. Apparate's
Apparate's the
coming with him.
danger.
Come
Apparate,
on.
Alfartique.
Come
It's
on,
all about the
Afatique.
A's. Oh, it might be Apparate's day.
Come
Roger
on.
Varian.
Oh,
David Egan,
man.
Apparate wins. Second, Alfartique. Looked better than he thought he could halfway anyway. Back in third was Volcanic Sky, but it's David Egan for Roger Varian.
The king of the stayers.
The
this
king
season,
of the
Roger
stairs,
Varian.
Fujiera Prince, of course, goes over for the Irish St Ledger at the Curragh on Sunday. We'll be covering that here on RP Live. Barry, you must have thought you had it. It was a tale of two halves almost, that race, wasn't it?
Yeah, he ran very snatchy, didn't he? You guys called it in running. He hit a low 1.10, 10-1 on in running. Volcanic Sky hit a low of 1.40 as well. So your winner hit a high of around 70 odd mark. I think for a few quid there was done at 2 quid at 55, 9 quid at 40. 23 quid at 36 for the winner in running. Did disappoint my favourite last day in Ascot, but obviously he's come on a ton for that run.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a known thing, guys, isn't it? When Roger Varian for Shaker Paid goes to Ascot with something that looks like it might be ahead of its mark. And Apparate is always one of these fancied horses. He got into a skirmish, Andrea, at Zalioni. You could see the plan. He got a lovely ground-saving run, didn't he? And this time he waited that little bit longer.
He's bad, isn't he, Andrea, today? And David Egan's taken full advantage there. It was a good ride, wasn't it, by the young man?
He's having a great season.
Yeah,
John
he's really
Canoe, of
impressed me.
course, at Goodwood, and the others.
Don't
He's
forget
a
that
top
one.
man.
David Junkanoo Egan, as he's known as now.
Yeah, Alfartique there, boys. Wow, 1.10, did you say, Barry?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Woo!
He looks like he's got the blinkers on, isn't he? He looks like he's a bit quirky, isn't he? He seems to hit a big flat spot and then stay on again.
There's your result then. Apparate takes out the first here on Race Post Live on your Friday. Well done if you went with that 5-1 solid each way for many. Afatique all the way out to 2-1. Had every chance, didn't he? Did he duck it? Let us know. What do you think? Jim Crowley just looked like he put down the stick and he picked up again. Is he a thinker? And of course, Volcanic Sky, who looked like he had absolutely every chance. Kieran Fallon gave him a blinder. 10 stone he had on his back though, just counted towards the finish. Looks to my eyes, guys, like it's getting quicker all the time at Donny as well.
Certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with my selection there.
Yeah, what happened to Hotchfeld?
I seemed to get the easy lead that I was hoping he was going to get. And
how many runs has he had since he's resumed this
went out
Hotchfeld?
like a light, didn't he? Very disappointing.
Actually, it's not that many. That was his 7th run since resumptions. I think I counted a Johnson horse the other day. It was having its 12th run since resumption. Like your card sharps, isn't it, of this world?
Yeah.
Who runs at Sandown later on as well. So look, we're off and running here on RP Live. Thanks for joining us if you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube. # what a shout. That was dramatic, wasn't it? Let's see if we can get one over the line. Bit disappointing there, Barry the Nap, but we're going to bounce back. Shall we move on to the next race? Just get that Mallard out the way. I mean, actually, just before we do, let's have a word for the winner. Where do we go with him now? Let's see what he's in. Is he in the Cesaro, which later this month, isn't it, of course? I'm trying to see what he's in. He's another one of these. Or he's not. He's another one of these that's fairly fragile, isn't he? What would you do with him now? Where would you go?
Would you go back to Doncaster in the November handicap end of the year? Could that be a race maybe on his horizon?
November handicap, we're creeping up, aren't we?
Yeah, that
It's a long
race
way away, isn't it?
probably isn't the race it was once.
It
No,
might
it's
be
kind of
now,
gone
though, because
down
there's a
there.
backlog of these horses, aren't there?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, Roger Varon's got a bit of an embarrassment of riches with these mile 6 furlong handicaps.
Shandos is the one I like the best from his
Shandos,
one
yeah.
Ascot.
That could
one
go there,
recently,
couldn't it?
didn't
It's a
Very good
3-year-old.
horse.
Good shout indeed. So, nearly. Well, actually, where did calculation finish? That was a disgraceful
It was a
tip.
disgraceful tip. But look, I was against Al Fatik, so, the layer's got the money with the favourite.
Typical.
Like 1.1 in the run there. I can't believe it went that
Absolutely typical. You don't mind patting yourself on the back. I see you doing it on air all the time. He's a despicable man when you go on Sky with Tony. Let me tell you, because off air, he keeps it nice and simple in case the top brass are watching. But the moment he's off air, he throws it down. And he's jockey bashing as far as he goes. We'll try and get that out of him.
Never.
You like the favourite in the next race, don't you? Shall we move on? Let's go to the 6.5 furlong handicap.
Yep.
It's Galloon.
Galloon, yeah. I mean,
Galloon.
Galloon.
You're the commentator. You should tell us.
Jim
Galloon.
Crowley's had a couple of favourites beaten, isn't he, first 2 races? He's a real confidence rider, Jim, isn't he? Remember that York meeting when he had those first 4 winners? He was on that roll. But look, I think Galloon might be the one for Marcus Tregonning. I think it's a race that's perhaps not that competitive with the numbers would suggest. I'm with Galloon to hopefully give Jim Crowley an upturn in fortunes today.
And Marcus Tregonning. No Mahatha,
No
of
Mahatha
course.
anymore,
Now,
sadly.
actually, I was having a conversation with G earlier. While we get a little bit of time in between the races, let's bring on our RP Live viewers here. It's fair to say that Graeme is not shy of an opinion, a strong opinion, and he's got one here. He thinks that Pinatubo will never be beaten again. That's the sort of usual shout that you gave me. What do you reckon?
Well, I was on it before. I did say that Mishriff was the best 3-on in training. Remember that time I was laughed off the studio. I was. I said that before.
We did raise an eyebrow.
I read the racing post the Monday after he won in France. What did it say? Probably the best 3-year-old in training in this country. Mishriff.
Unbelievable.
Not
Saints.
anymore, he's not.
The best placed 3-year-old in training. Yeah, okay. Well, Barry, let's go to you then for this second 6.5 handicap. It is the 210, of course. This is it's a specialist distance, isn't it? Galloon, Jim Crowley. The punter's given him a chance to go back and go one better than the first race.
Yeah, he ran so fresh, didn't he? Over 7 furlongs at Doncaster first time up. He was off for nearly a year. Just didn't seem to settle at all. He had just had his wind done as well. But it's interesting they keep him in training. Obviously, he's a 5-year-old gelding. So he's one that I fancy. I'm going to have a few quid, and if Graeme wants to place the bet there, I think that race has worked out okay as well. The Magical Wish that beat him didn't get disgraced when only beaten ahead by Coldstone in Goodwood. So, but we're going to set our own odds here, Graeme. So
Yep.
if you click on the back. And it comes up at 4.5. I'm going to select the back at around the 4.7 mark. So we're going to have 25 quid on a 4.7, and that'll go over into the lay column, looking for someone to come in and lay a stat bet. And I think we'll get laid because he's quite weak in the market. Interestingly enough, so is Jim Crowley's horse in the last race was relatively weak, drifted out to 5-2 at one stage. Yeah. So we'll select around 4.7. So we win 92.50 if that comes in for us. And I think we will get matched because, like I said, they're backing a couple against it here as well. Tranche
yes,
for David Loughnane.
Yeah,
a few quid knocking around for that. That's into 5-1 now.
Tom Segal put that up today. I must admit, I've gone for that. So let's go through the panel now. You know what Barry's playing. Give you plenty of time to react. It's 2:10 this also. 20 minutes we got to this race. Plenty of dissection we can do of this race. I've gone for Tronchi. I wanted to be with Galloon. And I look back at that Doncaster run that Barry was just describing there. He wasn't done too many favours on the far rail, actually. And the winner, Magical Wish, a horse you've put up in the paper you think will go in again at Sandown today. So you think the form's obviously all right. It was just a price thing, really, because I think Tronchy hasn't been ridden right the last couple of times. And Tom's argument coming back in trip. Did you see the run a week ago? He went absolutely flying clear, hung it away, didn't he?
Yeah,
Ray Dawson on claiming 5. Is there a better £5 claimer currently riding?
I actually backed that old Tronchy that day, yeah. And, I mean, he was going well. He looked like he was going to win. And then, like you say, he was on the stand, sort of towards the stand side, wasn't he?
Threw it away, didn't he?
Seemed to throw it away. But, see, this happens quite a lot. In big meetings like this, for example, some of our bets being matched now, Galleon's quite easy to back in that some of the tipsters, Tom Siegel himself, they come on, they look, this Galleon looks a bit short. It's got to be worth taking on. Yeah. And then you see that Galleon is really, really weak in the market. Now, Galleon's actually starting to become a bettable price. I mean, if you told me I was going to get around 4.7, which Barry's almost getting us here on Betfair for the charity, I'd have been absolutely delighted with 4.7 because I always thought we'd be a lot shorter than that. Whereas Tronchy, if you're thinking of tipping Tronchy the day before, you're probably thinking you might get 9, 10 to 1, and he's actually in sort of around 5, 9 to 2.
Yeah, the Lemmings have jumped on now, haven't they? This does look like a bit of an each-way race to me, and you're right. Plenty of people would be happy to play 7 to 2 or to place markets, of course, for Galleon. So Tronchy, for me, I'm slightly concerned about. It's different ground. It's by Warfront, which is a Ballydol Sire who's known for top of the ground. So there's no reason why he shouldn't go on it. He's not from 8 on turf. His best form has been on soft. He's dual or weather winner, basically. But I think he'll go on this. It's the claiming of Ray Dawson that I like. 4 to 1, I agree, is a little bit skinny. So where are you playing, Graeme?
Yeah, I don't like going with the crowd very often, but I think be with everyone here because I'm on Galleon as well. I've been playing this angle all season about the hand-down runners when they've got 2 in it. Jim Crowley just knows which one to be on. And he said this was an easy decision between Galleon and Shababi. He thought he was definitely on the right horse. And when he's quite bullish, Jim Crowley, he tends to be right. And I'm quite hopeful Galleon will win this.
So it's a little bit like Alphatic in our first. He's obviously had his issues, hasn't he? We've not seen him very much. They've worked on his wind as well. Second run back, they've given him 27 days. Ignore the bounce.
Yeah, I quite like the angle coming down in trip anyway because it's one of my favourite angles. I love horses that have like to run big speed figures over further and then drop back in trip. You know they've got loads of pace, and they usually see out the distance well because they've got the form over further. Yeah. And Galleon sort of fits into that bill as well, so that suits me too.
Talking about pace, before we go to Enzo for his selection, Byline you think will be up there. Sunset Breeze, the 3-year-old in the race. 3-year-olds have not got a good record in this race. I looked at it, I think they're not from 22 in the last decade. With Sir Mark Prescott and Luke Morris, huge runner coming up for them in the Doncaster Cup. We'll be previewing that for you in Revolver. I'm all over Revolver, going for a 7th straight win. Sunset Breeze, nice tough horse, but he looks like a pace angle. Now he's drawn in 8. You've got Danzan who might get on with it for the Easter Bees, and Duran Fentimon. He's across the other side. Tronchy likes to, it has shown a tendency to get on with it. So I don't know. I think if you're Galleon from stall 6, you've got plenty of options.
I mean, obviously the last race has been a bit of an exception, but I never really worried too much about pace at a track like Doncaster. It just really is one of the fairest tracks in Britain, And we saw there, even there, it didn't appear to be going that fast. You had the favourite coming from miles off the pace, almost getting there, but the ones up front also held their positions, and it's not something that I'd be massively worried about this track, whereas there's plenty of other tracks you might sit there and go, well, this might be a bit tactical, it's a funny track this, but that doesn't happen at Doncaster so much.
Okay, they should go solid pace here. Broken Spears, another one for stall 9 as well. Tony Ennis.
I don't like stall 1 at Doncaster Straight Course. We saw the horse in the Mayhill yesterday. You can get caught out on that wing. You get caught out on that wing and you're out in the open, no cover, and I just don't like stall 1 Straight Course at Doncaster.
Who's in stall 1?
Edgewood, I think, isn't it?
To be fair, like your stall 1 is pretty rotten draw anywhere on a straight course. Newcastle, terrible place.
Coffin box.
Because you get that sort of, particularly at Newcastle, but at any tracks, you get sort of in the wind,
on the flank, and you just got nowhere to. You got no cover, and if you want to get cover, you got to pull back and drop round the whole field, and you can lose length.
Especially if you're on a fancy one, they're just not going to let you in, are they?
If you look yesterday, when Dettori made his winning move on the horse on the other side, the George Strawbridge horse, and Andrea was on the other side, they were both making it at the same time, weren't they? But just being on that near side was such an advantage.
Yeah.
It's huge.
What did we make of Indigo Girl yesterday, guys? Just out of interest.
Yeah, well, no, did it
Won
nicely.
well, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it got a quirk or two? I'd like to see what happens if
It's obviously got a quirk or two.
Yeah.
It wears a hood. You should know plenty about that.
But Gosden had a similar filly like this, didn't he? In the same colours.
Rainbow View.
I can't remember its name. No,
Rainbow View was the winner of the
good
race.
one.
That was a top notcher.
Yeah.
Was it
Absolutely
Journey? Was also
Journey's
Journey,
the half-sister.
half sister, yeah,
Oh,
Journey,
right.
yeah.
So that used to run in a
Yeah.
hood, didn't
Yeah.
it? And then suddenly that took off.
And Goz has said this is quicker than Journey,
Right.
which means he thinks it's
Because
classy.
Journey was a bit quirky, and then suddenly
She did win the filly and mare's
won
turf,
about
didn't she,
like 5 in a row.
at
Yeah.
Champions
Nowhere.
Day. We're ramping up for Champions Day, aren't we? Gayeth running this week as well. Is it the right race to run him in? Is 4 to 6-ish on the right price? Okay, let's hear it. Get your comments in, your social comments in.
What about the Derby winners back, isn't he? Sunday, France,
Yeah.
Serpentine.
Yeah.
Serpentine in France, yeah, it's a big weekend in France. Stradivarius.
What if
facing
Serpentine
final.
wins that by 10 lengths on the bridle? What price is he in for the Arc?
Let's
Could be
get a
amazing,
social
couldn't
in
it?
then. I've been baying for them. Let's get them in. What do we got? In Opfa. One of these days I'm going to absolutely mug up on this. Awesome stuff. Let's get some winners. Yes, in Opfa. Let's do it. Let us know what in Opfa stands for, if we possibly can. Okay, listen, we've got some help today. Bobby Beavers, the voice of Town Moor. He's going to give you some tips. Let's see what he thinks of this 6.5 furlong handicap.
The 210 on Town Moor is a very competitive race, in my opinion, but the one that gets my vote is Musicality. I think it's a great each-way shout as well, trained by Roger Varian. David Egan back on board as well. 4 runs for this horse, 2 of those was a victory, and David has won on the horse as well. Comes into the race on the back of a win last time out at Newmarket. Half a furlong further today on Town Moor. Won't be a problem whatsoever. So for me, each way, Musicality.
Musicality, another 3-year-old. Yeah, so nice and consistent. Roger Varian going for a quick double. He's been a little bit easy to back, Barry, hasn't he, this Musicality? Oh, yeah, there we go. Barry pressing pause again if you were with us during the day. That bladder's getting weaker, no doubt about that. We think that Barry's been in that room, by the way, since the racing resumption. You see him all over in lots of other mediums as well. He's literally never moved. You think the wife just... Do you think it's just locked down, taking it a bit too
locked him
seriously?
away.
Oh, Barry, you're back.
There he is.
You're back. Here we are.
I
He's
don't know
back
what these
again.
keep cutting me off.
It's not personal. It's not personal. We like the Betfair big hitter. Anyway, so listen, Musicality we were just talking about. Bobby Beavers, our tipster, I guess tipster for today. He's put it up. He's the voice of Town Moor. He's the presenter there. He really, really fancies this. But I said 3-year-olds have got a weak record. Byline's the other 3-year-old. Sunset Breeze as well. He has drifted out a bit, Barry, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He was matched at a high of 11.5 and he's now 8.6. So, no, he's steady enough. The great Bobby Beavers, one of racing's gentlemen. Bobby is. Anytime you're up at the north of England there, you should always sample his hospitality. But, yeah, Galloon still at 7-2. Sunset Breeze currently a 5-1 chance along with Tron.
Go anywhere with that, couldn't we? Bobby Beavers and sampling hospitality. I'll tell you, the best named man in racing, I reckon, isn't he?
It truly is. Yeah,
He'd have enjoyed university, wouldn't he? Let's
he's a
put it
great.
that way.
He's a great fella, Bobby. I didn't expect to see him popping up as a tipster in the Racing Post. I'll tell you that now.
Well, listen. He was doing the presenting, on Wednesday, Bobby. If you don't know who he is, if you were there, one of the lucky few to be on the Town Moor, and when racing came back, he was the guy that was telling you exactly what's going on. All the Northern Yards know him, the voice of the North, and certainly the up-and-coming voice of the North anyway. And he, as you'll get to see during the show, he does fancy a few horses. So, should we go through the tips again? Is it 3 for Galloon?
I think so, yeah. Galloon, I'm with you. It was more a process of elimination. I didn't really fancy anything else in the race, and I kind of fell on Galloon really in the end. So, yeah, I think good draw in the middle. Jim Crowley will put him to sleep early, thread his way through the pack, not leave it too late like some jockeys were doing yesterday, and hopefully take it up inside the furlong and win. Galloon.
One that I hovered over was Chief of Chiefs.
Royal Ascot winner.
Pins you could hear dropping when that won the Silver Wokingham. A horse that's been tried over further all of its career. Charlie Fellows puts an absolute curveball in. Charlie Fellows, big friend of the post. William Buick sits on. Drawn in stall 10. Did you watch this run at Ascot last time behind Blue Mist? He flew home.
Yeah.
I just wondered whether a mark of 100 against some of these unexposed sorts might be tough.
I sort of thought the same. I had a good look at him, and I just thought he's sort of also going to run well and not win. He's like a solid option, isn't he? He's a place put horse. He might run well, but you just think to yourself, the handicap has probably got him a little bit. Like you say, he's on a high enough mark. Unless there's no well handicapped horses in this race, which I find that hard to believe.
He's absolutely, yeah. I'm just trying to find the previous winners of this and see what sort of horse you need to win it. By the way, Sleeping Lion talking about previous winners in last race. Got to be an H14. That's a steward's excuse coming for that, by the way, isn't it? It was awful, wasn't it? Fell out the back of the telly, didn't he? Okay, so let's have a look at some previous winners of these. I mean, you're struggling a little bit. Sir Reginald won it in 2013. Amazor won it for Ismail Mohammed. Von Blutcher, ex-Burrows. I mean, Burrows won it last year. Owen's got a runner in here, actually, isn't he? Shababi.
Shababi rejected by Jim.
No, I know loads of punters over the years that love backing the black and pink hats of Hamdan. They reason that
they must
basically
be doing their money this year, I'll tell you that.
Well, this season, potentially, yeah. First time blinkers for Shababi, he does carry the black hat. But they reason that sometimes Hamdan just wants to run his horses in races. There's no real pecking order.
I mean, don't get me wrong, this is one of my favourite theories in racing, and I trot it out all the time. It's like, I call it the stable politics angle, which is like, you got a guy who comes down to the yard, and for example, he rides out every day, and he's very, very loyal, and then you've got like your top jockey. Now every now and again, you've got to reward this guy who comes down and rides your horses every now and again. You've got to throw him a bone every now and again. You can't just turn around and say, oh, yeah, well, you come down and ride more, and then Ryan's going to jump on him on the big day.
Poor Beggy type character.
Yeah, like, for example, Poor Beggy or an Emmett McNamara or a Shamey always comes up with a winner. And I'm not saying that, that there's anything dodgy going on. I'm just saying every now and again you've got to put these guys who are loyal, you've got to put them on the good one, and certainly it happens at Ballardoyle quite regularly, and it just doesn't seem to be happening so much for the Hamdan this year.
Well, Dane O'Neill, Hamdan's second jockey's at Sandown this afternoon, isn't he, I think? So Kieran Fallon gets the ride on this young Kieran Fallon, first time blinkers. He's a course winner as well. Wouldn't be the strike. I mean, actually, as rags go, I'm a bit surprised he is the rag, actually. I thought Manigordo would have definitely been.
The weird thing is, though, punters in general absolutely hate it when that happens, don't they? Like when, for example, the first jockey, suppose the first jockey doesn't win, and then that someone else comes in on the second jockey. But I mean, let's not forget these. It's not easy to make these decisions.
No, I think punters hate it when it's the same trainer, don't they? When the trainer has two in the same ownership, and then the bigger price wins. That's something that.
But I mean, this is another example of another stable that you often see Rab Hablin go in on plenty of winners for Gosden, and obviously Dettori is the number one stable jockey there. But every now and again, Rab, who's been the most loyal jockey of Gosden for the last 20 years, he does get his winners.
Oh yeah, he's going to ride loads, isn't he? I mean, and the Johnson stable is the same, isn't it? Whoever's the second or third jockey there, you're going to rack them up, aren't you? We saw this yesterday, of course, in the sales race, wasn't it, with Line of Departure and Dark Lion. Dark Lion was ridden by Frankie Dettori, David Egan, who has a great association. He is a stable jockey at Roger Varian's, and he has an association with the owner. He comes and does him, and that was the one for money.
Well, and the beauty, if you're a punter and you're doing that sort of thing, is like those jockeys, the lesser named jockeys, they're always going to be the bigger price, aren't they?
Yeah. So Shababi, absolutely no chance. I mean, we've talked more about Shababi than I thought we were going to.
But I don't fancy Shababi here. For all I've just made that argument about jockeys, I couldn't have Shababi here.
Yeah. Okay, Barry. Let's come back to you for the market. How's Tronchi looking? Are the Tom Segal followers really piling in on him? He's not moved much to my eye.
He's 5.7 now, so just nearly 9, a little over 9-2 at the moment. Was about a 6-1 chance earlier on this morning, but the favourite's relatively strong now. Is into 4.2, so just nearly 130 the favourite, having gone out to over 7-2 on the exchange. Sunset Breeze steady away at 5. Musicality 8.8. Not really backing anything else against them.
Were you thinking that he'd be shorter, Barry, than this when you looked at the runners last night or this morning? Were you thinking this has got a buzzer about it?
No, I thought I basically thought he'd be the price he was, around 11-4, 3-1. He doesn't deserve to be much shorter than that, and I would have reassessed the race if I wouldn't be backing him much shorter than that either.
Is there a lay in this race? Is there something that you're thinking that is too short? I mean, Sunset Breeze is supposed to be carrying £5 extra, for example, off his future mark. He turns out a week later. Surely that's why Prescott's running him in, because he knows he's never going to win off a mark like that high. He's a bit short to my eye, Sunset Breeze, 9-2, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought he'd be nearer 7s, but 8-1, as you say, he does seem a bit short. He's winning weaker races, isn't he? But he had a bit of a roll on earlier this season. He got beat his last 2, but couldn't rule him out. But I think he might be with the right Prescott one later on, that Revolver.
He's a very un-Prescott-like horse, isn't he? You look at him and you think, oh, he's winning over 6 furlongs, one after the other. You just don't see too many Sir Mark Prescott horses.
Unlike Revolver, who runs, of course, in our feature.
He wants 3 miles,
Doncaster Cup. He's improved 41 pounds in the handicap.
Well, I bet he was that day when he won a 58, did he first?
Well, and if you read back your quotes for this horse, if you open him up now in your members club, if you're hovering over the Race Post website, Luke Morris's quote I read it earlier, he's the type that might improve a little. £41, aye. But they did this, of course, when he won it with Alleluia back in 2001 in the Doncaster Cup. She then went on to run in the Cesarewitch. The Cesarewitch weights are already out, so Mark, it's slightly different.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Otherwise, that would have been the route, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is the Cez the race that he's never won? There's one of them, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's the Cez is the race that
He's
the
won the
autumn
Cambridge
double.
Pasternak, he's won the Cambridge with.
Yeah, oh yeah, Pasternak. Wow, all gambles like that. Graeme Rock, yeah, the great Pasternak. Okay, so we're approaching around about 4 or 5 minutes to the second race here on Racing Post Live. Loving the comments, come them in. We just have one so far. Where are you all out there? We know you're on the Facebook live chat, and as if by magic, here they are. I heard something going down there. I've got a pair of specs there.
My calculation bit is
throwing it all over the place. Matthew Wilson, welcome to the show. If Moore is available to give Japan another chance, I'm willing as well. If Moore is able to give Japan another chance.
No.
We're talking about in the Irish Champions Stakes. Quick word, lad. No
chance.
Japan, line through.
Gone.
Graeme?
Why if Moore's giving him another chance? I mean, Moore gets this stable wrong every time they run.
Don't get him started on Ryan Moore.
You know, if Moore's riding it, then the other one's likely to win.
There's a bit of a bee in the bonnet going on.
I have a theory on that. I think Magical's going to take on Guyot.
Do you?
Yeah. They made the running before Magical, and I think they'd be happy to sacrifice her in this. There's no real, she's won her, she's a broodmare now, or she's going to be next season, and it doesn't matter if she wins this or not, to her value to them. Whereas if Japan can win it, that's a big difference now.
And he obviously comes in fresh, Barry, as well, doesn't he, to tomorrow's race? Just 6 runners, of course. Old bar sort of Armoury, I suppose. I thought Armoury might be the one in there to spoil, although he's not done the front running too much so far.
Maybe they don't think Armoury's good enough, to really put it up to Gayef. You've got to think Gayef's fast, isn't he?
I thought Japan might be the fly in the ointment.
I don't think Gayet's going to get everything its own way around Leopardstown.
Well, that's why I didn't think he should be going to that race, Barry, because I thought, right, they're going to do team tactics, get him at it. It's on the inside track, Barry, tomorrow as well, so track should be perfect for him. But surely they're going to try and spoil him, aren't they?
Well, that's my theory. I think Magical is in there
enough?
for that reason.
Is she quick enough to I don't know, that would be my question, Mark.
Is she quick enough? She's quick enough to spoil a firm, yeah.
Let's get a social comment.
You negate her chances of winning the race.
All right, so Barry's punting out that Magical will try and spoil Gayet tomorrow. Breaking news, Barry Orr usually gets these things right. Let's see the social comments. As if by magic come on the screen, Dave Winder appears. Dave, good to have you. Broken Spear and Danzan, both each way stabs. Let's give them a chat then, guys. Danzan, likely pace angle, I said, Graeme. Stall 2 over the far side, deserves a win.
I did look at Danzan, but I thought he came into a similar category to Chief of Chiefs. He's pretty good, solid option who might run well and not win. I didn't fancy Broken Spear much.
You didn't. Another pace angle, actually. Yeah. He's having his 25th run. He's handicapped to win a race. That's what I would say, Dave. He's got a top Racing Post rating of 93, yet he's in here off 85. And it's a good run, wasn't it, at Ripon? Yeah, it definitely was a good run behind Abel Handy, who was got a break on him that day. So, yeah, not going to turn it off at all. So, actually, the more you look at this and the more that socials are coming in, you can see that people are... I haven't actually seen much love out there for Galioun at the moment. Barry, a final update from the market for you. They're beginning to go behind the boxes.
Yeah, Tranchi into 9-2 now. It's 7-2 the field though. Galioun 7-2. Sunset Breeze is 11-2. Musicality strong now into 7-1. Chief of Chiefs is a 9-1 chance. 14 bar.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Okay, so yeah, the market sort of found its place now, boys, hasn't it, basically, for the 210. And remind you, we've got 4 more races coming up for you here on Racing Post Live. Do indeed get your questions in your comments below for the panellists. We're going to get you a shout out on air, Facebook Live or YouTube. Welcome back, Dave Orton, Tony Ennis, Graeme Rodway, and Barry Orr.
What do you make of? Sorry, Dave. What do you make of English King not running the Ledger and going to France?
That was big news this morning, wasn't it?
He's always said it's ground dependent, Ed Walker, but the ground is good to soft Parry Longchamp. It's going to be good drying out at Doncaster. So if that's his argument, then
the gloss has big time come off this horse, and he's tiny as well. He's tiny,
which is why he wants good ground. He's light framed, isn't he? But why take him to Paris to run against Serpentine again on soft ground?
Does he think he's got no chance of winning a Ledger, basically?
I'd rather run him at Doncaster, wouldn't you? He's always said he wants a flat, conventional track with a long straight.
Do you think he's a mile and a half horse, or do you think he wants a mile and a quarter?
It was very eye-catching in the Derby, wasn't it?
I like the way he travels. He travels through the race like he's a good horse. But
at Lingfield, it looked like a Rolls Royce, didn't it, against Berkshire Rocco, who was well beaten by him.
Maybe the form. Maybe just got too excited about that form. Maybe. at the time.
Yeah, it looked that way when the Ballydor battalion was struggling to find a favourite.
It's a shame for Tom Marcon, isn't it? Because he was booked to ride him, wasn't he, in the Ledger?
You've been calling him Oliver Twist, Tom Marcon, haven't you? He thinks he's had more seconds
last
than anyone.
18 rides, how many seconds do you think he's had of 18?
Just tell us.
9.
Half
his last 18 rides finished second.
Now, if that was a tipster, right, they would
Including
think
Cold Front
that
yesterday.
they are bang in form. They've just not had the rub of the green.
He keeps just getting beat. They got beaten nose on one at Goodwood. He got beaten by Sylvester Sousa. Absolutely schooled him on Windsor on Monday a couple of times. Just kept beating him in those. I showed one earlier on. Just done him on the nod. He was a bit unlucky, maybe one of them. But it just, I don't know. I love Tom. He's a great jockey, but it just keeps happening.
Well, a commentator should never pocket talk. You've just seen one doing it. OK, let's go. Last couple going in then. Tony Ennis, I want to see a raucous call here because we've got loads of people backing outsiders here. You three in the panel are all against me with Galleon. You think the class level will come in? Tronchy for me. Trusting Tom Segal and price-wise. Now 7-2. He's looking skinny. The last couple are going in. Over to you then, Tony Ennis, to call the second race here on Racing Post Live.
He's tightening up a bit, isn't he, Galleon? 4.1 nearly off. Late money for him. Will it be well placed? Nearly set. Here we go. For his handicap over 6.5 furlongs. They're off, jumped away.
One's absolutely missed it.
Yes, Shababi absolutely fell out the stalls. The Black Cap Theory might be struggling. He's at the back of the field. Good start made by Byline in the high clear colours. That's going to lead up along with Edgewood, who just drops in behind. Alongside his Musicality. Right up there, Sunset Breeze, a bit keen maybe. Right there is Broken Spear. Then comes Tronchy. Your horse, Dave's got a nice sit.
Yes, lovely.
Midfield pat. Where's Galleon? Oh, he's pulling a bit, isn't he, Galleon?
Pulling like stink. Barry, what's the market saying on him?
Yeah, he's out to 6 now. This is what he did first time up as well this season, but I thought the freshness would be gone out. He's 11-2. Your horse, Tronchy, now your favourite at 2-1.
Yeah, he's cruising. Graeme, they look like they've just slowed it up a little bit mid-race.
Yeah, it's really not going well for Galleon, is it? You'll be struggling from back there. Tronchy's travelling like an express train, but he did do this at Haydock last time before throwing the race away.
He did. 2 furlongs left. Here comes Chief of Chiefs, Tony Ennis.
Yeah, Tronchy going really well. Up front, though, it's still Byline with a narrow lead. Here's Sunset Breeze. Luke Morris
Come on, Tronch.
about to unleash him. Galleon's going fast side, but surely he'll empty soon.
Come on, the Tronch.
Tronchy's not picked up yet.
Come
up
on,
front,
Tronchy.
Byline. Tackled hard by Sunset Breeze. Tronchy near side.
Come on, Tronchy. Too late.
Sunset Breeze in front.
Come on, Tronchy.
To in second
Come
place.
on, the
Still there is
Tronch.
Byline.
Come on, the Tronch.
Tronchy's
Come
coming.
on, the
Galleon's
Tronch.
Tronchy's coming. Tronchy beats Sunset Breeze. Galleon did well to get third. Byline fourth.
Oh, that was fantastic, wasn't it? Tom Segal, price-wise, you put it up, my friend. Hats off. Your legion of followers are absolutely in clover. Barry, what price did this open up last night? Into 7-2. He must have gone crazy in the market during the race as well.
No, it didn't go too crazy now. He's matched at a high of 10, but I think that was pre-race. That wasn't even in running because he did travel particularly well, I suppose. The runner-up, Sunset Breeze, hit a low 1.33, which is 3-1 on. And Galleon, who... I don't know what he was doing diving over for that far rail. They hit a low of 3.5 and running 5-2.
He was the big eye catcher, wasn't he? We'll get to him.
I don't.
The reason why I said that, Barry, that he must, because he's at this point, we're watching the replay back now, a furlong out. He just looked like he was going up and down on the spot. He was dropping back in trip. Ray Dawson, is there a better £5 claimer out there?
He's the go-to apprentice. Every year we discover one of these apprentices. He's the one this year, isn't he? Had a lot of problems in the past, Ray Dawson, but he's been brilliant so far.
Yeah, he's been. It was a great.
£5 off.
There's a great piece, wasn't there, about him and Kieran Schumacher and the persecutions that they've had, mentally and all that sort of thing. Roger Varian stables he's attached to. Let's get the result on screen then. Tronchy, aye. Goes and does it. Sunset Breeze are an absolute cracker up there throughout. And Galleon, what did you make of the run? He was slowly away. He was really keen. Jim Crowley, did he have any other option? He's darted for the far side. Once again, he's caught the eye. He was back down in trip as well, G, wasn't he? Do you think it's caught him out?
Well, the way he pulls, he's going to struggle to settle over further, isn't he? That's
he's
the problem.
Flown home, isn't he?
He's really finished well, especially considering he's gone to the far side rail. Now, this is earlier, Enzo was saying, Jim Crowley, he's a real confidence jockey. If he'd been coming on the back of a couple of winners,
I think he might have got this
do you think he
closer.
might have rode this race differently?
Yeah, he's a real confidence rider, Jim.
I think if he'd been coming in off a couple of wins here, Jim Crowley, he might not have gone that far.
I don't understand where he was going here. It was a strange because he was tracking Tronchy, wasn't he? Why not just stay tracking Tronchy there and follow him through?
Is this Jim's ideal sort of ride? I mean, the man's just ridden 2,000 winners, for goodness sake. He should be a jumps jockey.
Look how much daylight
he's
he's
a
got.
genius.
If you look at the race from the start, when they broke from the gates, he dived over to the left towards that rail, and he wanted to be on the wing almost.
Yeah.
And the first day up this season in the over 7 furlongs at Doncaster, he gave the horse the exact same ride. He wanted to get over onto that far rail.
He could be a nervous horse, Barry, couldn't he? He could be one of those horses that doesn't want to be around
He looked-
others.
to
Maybe
me,
he
like,
just thinks.
I'd be giving him a swerve next time now. I wouldn't be having any of my hard
Yeah,
earned
now
on.
that's interesting, Barry. Do you think he might be a red herring for punters out there then?
Very much so, yeah. I wouldn't touch him again now after that. He looks a tricky ride, and he looks one that's thinking about it a bit too much.
Let's get a social comment up on the screen. We're flying in now, it's what we like. Soulful Music 100, good to have you back on the show. This Enzo guy is not bad at commentating. Don't blow too much smoke. Should do it for a living. Yes, indeed. Well, let's just concentrate on that for a sec. Enzo is probably you're not shy of a shift, are you?
No, I did one of my doubles. I'm famous for those impossible doubles. People seem to think.
Yeah.
I did one on Monday again.
Chappers always gives you a bit of stick, doesn't he? Rightfully
Always.
so as well. So you literally go from the Sky Studios, which is Osterley and Isleworth, in
Windsor on
case
Monday,
any of your stalkers are wondering where you're usually hiding out, and then you just bomb down.
Yeah, I did.
You must do some mileage, mustn't you?
I found one tricky the other day. Do you know what I did the other day? I did Chelmsford then to Skye. That was a bit longer than. That was a very hard run.
Did you make it?
I made it, yeah, but it was a long old. I've realised that where the Sky Studios, Kempton and Windsor are the ideal ones to get to from there.
Let's find out a little bit more about Enzo. You've got a few mouths to feed as well, haven't you?
Oh yeah, four boys, yeah. So it's kind
Woo!
of yeah. So lots of
Four boys.
School
So
uniforms expensive.
So you are, if you're in Scotland, you'd be fine. If you're in Wales, you'd be fine. We're yet to hear about Northern Ireland, but in this country, you are right on the rule of 6. I mean, you literally can't have anyone in the house, man.
no visitors at any stage. I'll be breaking the.
His neighbours are like, happy days, thanks, Boris. You've done us a favour.
Talking about rules, it's like one rule for the jockeys, one rule for the commentators. Isn't it? No double shifts for the jockeys, but it's all right for the commentators.
It's one meeting rule. Let's get you back on
The
one meeting
BHA might
rule.
bring that in, Graeme.
You would be
quiet.
absolutely stoned with that, wouldn't you? Yeah, great comment, Soulful Music 100. Absolutely. If you want to know any more about the panel, do indeed get them in. They're not shy to talk. Let's have another one coming in then. What have we got? Great show so far. Come on, Devon Rorick. Good to have you back. Regular. Nice one, Dave. I'll take my money back for second each way again. I'll take my money back for second each way again. Yeah. Second. Was Tom Marquand on Sunset Breeze and he wasn't, was he?
Well done at Sunset Breeze, to be fair.
Yeah, it
Thought it ran a
did.
good race.
He's now going to have another £5 on his back, so Prescott will be cursing a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, form-wise going forward, G, from that race, it was an exciting race, wasn't it? At the moment, these 6 furlong handicaps, wherever you go, because of the truncated season, at the bigger tracks, they're always going to work out well, aren't they? Would you be telling people to back things out of that? Was it Musicality or Edgewood that was running on into 5th there, I saw? One of them in the Reds, we'll get that for you, was a bit of an eye-catcher there.
Yeah, it was an interesting race in the sense that I thought the winner was beat about a furlong and a half down, because having seen him run last time at Haydock, I thought, well, this all's shaping like sort of all that don't finish.
You're thinking he's a monkey.
And he looked, well, is he going to finish off? And then I don't know if he actually finished well or if the front two just stopped. Do you know what I mean? And he just kept on at the one pace. But it's take nothing away from him. He travels like a good horse, and he's won the race well in the end.
He's won that off 88. Okay, let's play a little bit of figures guessing here. Keith Melrose, who was on the show yesterday, our betting editor. Oh, Keith, if you're watching, you're obsessed with figures, my man. And the annoying thing is he's usually right. Where do we go now with this horse? So he was already due to run off 90. The handicap is going to give him another 5 now at least, isn't he? Something like that. If you're Dave Loughnane, and a word to Dave Loughnane as well, really good up-and-coming trainer. It might sound a bit funny because you would have known him for a long time, Enzo, on the all-weather tracks. And that. He's been around for quite a long time. But he has had an influx of owners, including in these colours. They've given him a
big breakthrough this year, wasn't it, with the 2-year-old that won Ascot?
This is aggressive handling from him, isn't it? You know, don't be worried about running your horses. But you've got to be looking at Tronchi as a 5-year-old, Graeme, haven't you?
Well, he is flying at the moment, isn't he, David Loughnane? Like, this season has been really a breakout season for him, and he has excelled with these sorts of horses. He's probably going to go about what, 6? Probably 6, I'd say, 6, 7.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in the better sort of sprint handicaps. But he does look like the sort of horse that the faster they go and the classier horses that are in there, the better he'll travel through the race.
He's a dual or weather winner. You'd be looking at Ascot, surely, wouldn't you, for Wokingham or something like that? Yeah, Barry, you're agreeing with that?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, after 20 years, he's an overnight sensation, David. He plied his trade over here for a long time, couldn't make it pay, and just saw a few opportunities in the UK and went over there. And I tell you one thing, no harder grafter than him, that's for sure. And like Enzo says, that was an affiliate that won the graded race, the group race in Ascot for him this year.
Yep.
Great to see that happen for him. He's a couple of really nice 2-year-olds as well this year, but this is an older horse that's definitely going to improve. He's a gelding by Warfront, 4 turning 5. So I'd expect to see plenty of him for years to come.
Yeah, first win on turf as well. So listen, Tronchy, we think we've got one. The Tronch. Happy days. I love calling that one home. That was great. Okay, shall we move on, guys? We've had 2 races. Santosha in the same colours?
No, I don't think green, bit of green on Santosha.
No, that was the 2-year-old that won at Ascot. Was it Princess Margaret?
Yeah, one at Lingford. I called it a Lingford on debut, Santosha, when it won a huge price. I had to check my card twice. It was that one. It was such a big price.
So listen. If Dave Loughnane could be an overnight sensation, there's still hope for you yet breaking through on these major meetings, my man. Listen,
one day,
Enzo. Quite right. Okay, so with 2 races down here on Racing Post Live, delighted to have you watching us. We've had some great feedback so far from the shows this year. We're not going anywhere. You'll be delighted to hear that. As long as there's racing on, we'll be bringing it to you. We've got loads coming up. The jump season's not too far off. Lots more on the flat. We've got loads lined up for October as well. Future Champions Day, Cesarewitch, Champions Day itself, Vertin Futurity. You want it, we'll bring it to you. Don't worry about that. Get your questions in. We'll give you the shouts out. The guys in the gallery. Also, giving a mention to the guys in the gallery, telling me it is good ground there still, it looks like, guys. That was a bit of a tricky race to gauge time-wise. Slow by 2.32 because it did slow up a bit. But in sprint races, you should be able to gauge the time of the ground, shouldn't you, really?
Yeah, I mean, do you think that it's going to be quick tomorrow then, Dave?
I do. It's not, it was breezy there. It was breezy. Do you remember this meeting last year, G? It was proper road light. There were lots of long runners and stuff, weren't there?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's at Doncaster, you sit there and you go, it just always seems to get the ground right there. Like, Nicky Anderson loves it, doesn't he, on the jumps? He's like, I love Doncaster,
It was a funny year last year for Doncaster, because you remember had that record wet winter,
They lost those.
And it was awful at Doncaster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Horrendous. They couldn't get it right. It makes you think about watering and things like that. Where did this meeting, St Leger meeting, turn to put the taps on a little bit? We don't know. Where do we stand on watering, guys? I've been on Sky, probably with Enzo or something like this, and I've called out a couple of clerks before. It's cost me a few shifts, without a doubt, because sometimes you skirt a bit close to the wind. But I'm not going to call any out, actually, but there is a rule, isn't there? There's some tribes out there, Barry would agree with this. They think that there is like a high bizarre grand wizard of the watering. Andrew Cooper's usually the one that gets called out at Sandown and Epsom. Secret watering, Stickles and Ascot and things like this. Do you think it goes on, or?
What, you think he goes out there at night?
That's what I'm telling you.
Dark,
how many times have you been in a box, Barry, the Betfair box, and you've seen the sprinklers go on and go, hang on a minute, the BHA haven't told us that they're watering out there. Do you think it goes on, Barry, this watering in Ireland as well?
Very little watering over here. It's all natural. But I tell you one man who doesn't need to water in Haydock Park, Kirkland Tellroyd. He's one man. They never need to turn on the taps there.
Kirkland Tellwrong, they used to call him, didn't they? Never quite got it
track,
right.
Isn't it? They get it wrong a few times. They lost their Gold Cup.
Man,
That was a banner, wasn't it? A couple of years ago.
Do you go and commentate up there?
I haven't been for a long time.
Why is that?
Because I thought I criticised the ground up there once.
That's a good way to get out of it. That's a good way to get out of a train journey, isn't it?
I would like to go up there again. But
you say you like going to Foss Lass, don't you?
I'm back at Foss Lass.
What's wrong with you, man?
I'm back. October.
It's like it must be a pretty soul-searching journey. That
it's a long old journey.
Do you remember like when you were 6? You know what I mean? When you're driving along, you know all these memories that you'd never have because you got so much time.
The thing is, you go past the turning for Chepstow on the M4. I must be nearly there. And you just look at your stat, like 2 hours 45 still to go, and you're going, that can't be right.
The road to nowhere.
It's easy to forget quite how long it takes you to get across Wales, isn't it? I've been down there once because I think I was driving to Punchestown Festival one day.
You ended up at Foss Lass?
When I go to Iden, I like to take the boat because I like to take my car. So I always drive there. But I came past the Foss Lass
strange
on the
man
way.
you are,
Just
G.
literally before you get on the boat.
Isn't the nearest? Someone says if you stood at the top of the grandstand, the nearest track is it Wexford or something, rather than you've got to look across the Irish Sea.
Rather than Chepstow. Yeah,
so
Foss
far.
Lass. There's such big high hopes for the track, wasn't it? But now talking about bad ground, there's heavy, isn't there? As McCoy once famously said, then there's Foss Lass heavy. But we are look, we've got good ground. You'll be delighted to know. I think it will get a bit quicker, G. Yeah, absolutely. The ground in Ireland this weekend, then Barry. While we're having a word on that, slightly quicker to my eye at Leopardstown than it will be on Sunday at the Curragh.
Yeah, very much so. I'm not far from Leopardstown here, and we've had a couple of good drying days. Still plenty of moisture in the ground, all right, but be good, perfect racing ground, and very little racing in Leopardstown, especially on that track, inside track. So a really good grass cover, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, just before we go on to sizzling flying shoulders, Barry, you must. I know that you've been playing it cool. We were chatting with Barry yesterday, and we said, when are you going to get back on track? When will crowds be? He said that us British were crying, basically. Us English we couldn't get back on. He said it's not so important
in the studio were crying.
Oh, he's covering himself.
The panellists in the studio were crying about not getting back on track just yet.
The boys in the gallery are checking that as we speak, and it will go out on a
play
reel.
it back.
But this is VAR. VAR, I'm hearing him. VAR. But Barry, this is one meeting you're really going to miss, surely, at the weekend, isn't it? Not being out on track, surely.
Massively, yeah. Of course you are. But it's an equanimity, isn't it, about it? You just got to accept your fate. You're not going to be there, so there's no point in moaning about it. And there's some great TV coverage, like Racing TV and terrestrial television will cover it here, RTE. And I think ITV plan to cover a couple of races from Leopardstown as well. So you're spoiled for choice when it comes to coverage, which is a massive help.
There's an oddity, an Irishman praising RTV. We'll move swiftly on then. Shall we go to 240 then at Doncaster? It is the Flying Childers. Oh, we got some Irish representation here as well. Oh, and Barry, is this, Barry, the pivotal punter's horse of the day in Sacred?
Yeah, very much so. And I'm going to take her on, Graeme. I'm laying her. I'm happy to lay her at 2.42, which she is at the moment. I thought anything at 2.50 under, she was a lay. There's just so much against her in this. Now, obviously, the second to Miss Amulet and the Louder, she traded at 1.15 that day. The day before that in the Queen Mary, she traded at 1.12. So she's been chinned twice at big odds on. On a line through Miss Amulet, there's not a head between her and Frenetic. One's a 5-1 chance and one's a 6-4 chance. So what we're going to do, Graeme, I don't know, have you done it already? I can't see your screen just yet.
No, yeah. You want to
lay? 242. Yeah, we'll take 50 quid out of her. So we're taking 50 quid at the backer stake at 2.42. So that will populate there, and you just put in 50 quid, and we're happy to place that bet. We have a liability of about 120 quid. Every other runner in the race wins us 50 quid. And there's several of them that can pop up here. Obviously, Frenetic, who I've spoken about, Ventura Tormenta, who won the Papan, that's got a big chance. You've the Malcolm winner here, Steel Bull, who hit his head on the gate in the Phoenix Stakes when a lot of people thought he had disappointed behind Lucky Vega, but there was an excuse for him that day. And also you have Mohawk King, who's worth an honourable mention, who wasn't beaten that far by Minzal in the gym crack. So that's decent form as well. So there's a whole host of horses in here can beat Sacred, and I think they'll start to come to the fore.
Compelling argument made by Barry Orr then for taking on the favourites. I must admit, I've taken her on. I was with her at York. And Miss Amulet, as you mentioned there, Barry, I think she's actually a very, very good horse. I was watching from afar that day, and I thought that Sacred might have shirked it a little bit. Have a look back on your replays. Let me know if I'm totally wrong. You can do that now, of course. I know that she's back in distance here. I'm never sure about a horse who's run about the 5-4 mark, 11-8 mark, that's in between twits. So we don't know that much about her. That's what put me off her at the price. Perfectly, on that Queen Mary form, which is some of the hottest juvenile form you'll find anywhere on the globe. She's the right favourite, of course, but from stall 10 with the pace or looking a little bit lower over the other side, I thought there were reasons to take her on. G?
No, I think she'll win. Like you say, the Queen Mary form is just head and shoulders.
Sizzling.
Compared to this. I mean, Campanelle, the winner, went and won the Morning, and I think it was quite a strong Morning.
Yeah, Happy Romance.
Now, last time out, she got turned over at York, didn't she? Like you say, she looked like she was going to win, and then Miss Amulet's run her down. But I think that's a pretty good horse,
Yeah,
Miss
it
Amulet.
is, yeah.
Won that well. And
Ken Connor's horse is...
Sacred's just miles clear, well, not miles clear, but it's beaten the rest tidily enough for me. And I think this course will suit her. I think a nice fair test over 5. I think that might be ideal for her. So I think she'll win.
Interestingly, they were stand-siding it yesterday, weren't they? Or they tried to. They middle, as we've seen. They've been making beelines, be it on the round course, they come down the middle, or indeed last race as well. Stall 10 doesn't worry you, just whatever.
They've just come down the middle, haven't they? So, yeah, I mean, I don't like to get too heavily involved in that because I hate to think that I'm overcomplicating the whole thing a little bit.
Now, talking about overcomplicating, let's go to a man that's been doing nothing but that with this race. You've changed your mind, chopped and changed your mind all along. You were sacred. You know what Sod's Law, if you like Sacred. Why? Because Mr. Second is riding it.
Mr. Second's riding it. Price has just gone as well. That's too short now. Filly against Colts as well. It's just, you've got a few things in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Between trips, not sure that the high draw will be as good today as it was yesterday, the day before. Just all those little negatives. And it's quite a strong field. As Barry was saying, there's a few in here that are interesting. Mohawk King is the one I'm interested in the most. I think for giving that run last time out, his Ascot win was really good on debut. I think he's really progressive. Titori up for Hannon, owned by Sheikh Issa, who, of course, has lots of horses over in Bahrain. I think it's a big player, Mohawk King.
You ever been over to Bahrain?
Yeah, once. Yeah, it was good. Last year for the King's Cup.
Oh, yeah, you've told me about this. Whose party did you go to? You went to a party, didn't you?
Yeah, we went to...
Was it Fawzi Nass?
It was Fawzi Nass's house, yeah.
You said you'd never seen a buffet like it.
It was a
didn't
huge
you?
buffet. I did it justice, though, you'd be glad to know. I'm not surprised to hear.
What, the buffet? You can
last
just
to leave
picture
the
this
table.
palatial palace, can't you? And everyone's sort of dancing around, and you got there's a commentator over there, guys, stuffing his face
It was
with,
like a huge...
with
I can't say
langoustines.
the
And
dish that came out, it was probably the size of this table. And it had like all the meat in it in the middle, beef and things in the middle, and then all the rice like around the outside. It's a massive spoon. You just like, and then the next table would be like a huge chicken, and then like rice and potatoes around that as well. And just it was...
well, listen, I'm hoping that my plate will be filled with steel bull here. Barry was right. What he said, it did look just too bad to be true last time.
Yeah.
And he needed a trip to the dentist, believe it or not. Michael Callaghan said that he lost 2 teeth, the chap. So if he comes back to that Malcolm form, which is working out rather well, I just love the way that he sat, did everything that he couldn't do at Goodwood during that meeting. Remember at Glorious Goodwood, came through runners, the time was good, the form's working out, and I think this maps up really well for him. So there are the panel's selections. Let's see what Bobby Beavers thinks up on Town Moor.
The 240 on a Town Moor is a race I always enjoy seeing at the St Leger Festival. Of course, it's the Flying Childers over the Flying Five on Town Moor, and I'm absolutely all over the favourite here. Sacred Fall, William Haggis and Tom Marquand. She won on debut. That came at Newmarket in a maiden. Since then, she was second in the Queen Mary at Royal Ascot, second last time out in the Lowther. That was on the Knavesmire. She's the favourite, and I think she'll get the job done. Sacred for me to win the Flying Childers.
Thanks, Bobby. I'll tell you what's brilliant. That picture, when I was watching Bobby there, you can imagine like he's on a big screen and we're all underneath it like it's a cinema. He was looking down as like the Wizard of Oz there, wasn't he? So he's hoping for a bit more luck with musicality. Bobby Beavers, you're right, absolute gent. I spoke to him this morning. He's really hoping the race goes come back because that's his bread and butter, of course, but someone will pick him up, no doubt. Okay, so how long away? They're in the paddock watching them going around. Sacred Barry looks to be hardening up. She's not drifting.
No, she's not. Well, she's 2-4, 2-3-8, 2-4 now. 2-3-8 to back, 2-4 to lay. So I think we laid her at 2-4 as well. Frenetic has come in for a little bit of support. Was 6.4, is into 5.9 now. And Steel Bull. So the 2 Irish horses against Sacred are second and third favourite. Mohawk King, small few quid for that. Come in at a point, 11.5 now, and it's 16 to 1 bar.
There has been an Irish winner of this in the last 10 years, but just the one. Can anyone remember what it is off the top of your heads? Can you remember who it was? He's not training anymore, actually. There's a clue, Barry. Oh, quiz question. People out there that are watching, thinking to themselves, look, he's got on the phone, you're on the phone, you're not allowed to do that, Graeme, won't we? I'll put you out of your misery. The horse is a sire now as well, believe it or not. Requinto in 2011 for David Watchman. It went off favourite. That's the next thing to say about this race. The last 5 favs have all been turned over. Gutafan for Richard Hannon was the last one to take it. Hannon was on a real roll in this. Senior used to win it all the time. Zebedee won it for him. Sir Prance a lot. A lot of sires I'm mentioning here, aren't there, basically?
He's making good shakes now, isn't he, as a sir?
That's it, absolutely. Yeah, you can get some value out, I think. These speedy sorts from him. Ardad won it for Gosden in 2016. Heartache for Clive Cox, you'll remember. Was she a Queen Mary winner, Heartache, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess Sacred there. Soldier's Call for Archie Watson, what great horse he was, 2018, and Al Ali for Simon Crisford. And if anything, you want to be sort of drawn low. So that's the historical. So the Hannon Yard, solid record in the race. You think that there's still more to come from Mohawk. He did actually say in his members section or in your paper this morning, if you look at his quotes, he said give him another chance, didn't he?
I think so. I think if you look at that run, I think Barry mentioned it behind Minzal at York. He wasn't beaten that far either, and things didn't go his way. The Ascot win was really nice on the debut. You know how hard those Ascot maidens are to win. That Crocker Bull Teal maiden's normally a good one every year. Yeah, I like Mohawk King. I think there's more to come from him. The fact that Dettori's riding as well, I just think a lot to like about him. Just the price. I mean, I cannot have this favourite now 6-5. That sort of price is heading towards 11 to 10 even money.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's a price thing for me. We've got another comment coming in, I believe, of someone that was on yesterday. Steakhead. I've also laid sacred.
Go on, Steakhead.
Steakhead, yes, indeed. That was when Keith Melrose actually told a joke. He said that was, what did he say? It was well done for that comment or something like that. I said that's a rare occurrence, and, you know, it's yeah, moving on. Yeah, okay, all right. So thanks, good to see you. Good to have these comments coming in. We love them. Absolutely all the way here on Racing Post Live with the Betfair Exchange. Whether you're a beginner on the exchange or indeed a seasoned pro, Barry Orr will often give you a way forward. What are the markets are there of this on, Barry, then? Let's have a little play around, shall we? Should we try and find a different angle for the charity bets as well? Are there any A versus Bs, for example, here?
Oh, there's a whole host of, you can bet each way. You can bet the traditional 3 places in and 2 places, 4 places, A versus B as well. Is Steel Bull against Frenetic? I'd be taking Frenetic over Steel Bull. She's 4-5 ahead of Steel Bull, who's 2.16. But yeah, interestingly, you mentioned Ali here for the Christophers as a previous winner of this race, and is in the Flying 5 in the Curragh on Sunday, the Grade 1, and is well fancied for that as well. So keep an eye out there for Ali.
Good race that, because Kaya Mora's in it, Barry, as well, wasn't she? The horse that was second.
Batage,
yeah.
Yeah,
and make a challenge.
Well.
Yeah. Make a challenge. For Dennis Hogan needs or deserves a big winner, of course, after the hard luck that they've had this year. That's a Flying 5. We'll be covering that here on Sunday. If you're on RP Live, don't go
Sunday's
anywhere.
Huge, isn't it?
Massive.
The Irish and the French.
4 Grade 1s.
Tremendous.
Yeah, Glass Slippers is in there for the Ryan Yard. That's also Batage form, isn't it? I think I'd favour her, really. Have you had a look at it? Liberty Beach is in there.
I looked at it before I came in. I thought the Glass Slippers had a huge chance. I mean, she was on a roll, weren't she, last year?
He fancies it as well, doesn't he? They do fancy it.
You know, slowly building back up to form. That run last time
the
behind
Abbey,
Batage, and then come here and then off to Paris.
She's definitely fresher than the rest of them, isn't she? Equilateral for Charlie Hills, Batage's training. That is a serious race, actually. It's proper Group 1 sprint, actually. I can't remember how long it's been a Group 1 for this race, Barry, is it?
Only a couple of years.
Only a couple of years, yeah. So listen, it's one of 4 Group 1s on Sunday at the Curragh.
4 on Sunday, yeah.
National Stakes, Barry. While we've got you, Barry's going off to do talk sport, footy and all that sort of stuff. We've got Neil Hubbard coming into the studio for Bet for the next couple of days. Give us some winners for the weekend then, Barry, while we've got some time, because they're taking their time getting down for the next at Doncaster. What about the National Stakes?
Yeah, I suppose you haven't seen any jockey bookings for the National Stakes yet, have you guys?
Yeah, no. I can give them to you. Lucky Vega obviously will be Shane Foley, won't it? Buick is going over for Master of Seas. Pinatubo won that race last year. Of course, Moore's over for Battleground as well. What about Thunder Moon? He's quite interesting, Barry, isn't he? Declan McDonough for Joseph O'Brien, one of your ambassadors.
Yeah, he won well first time up, but I think there's better horses in this. Master of the Sea, I was really impressed with him in the Superlative. I thought he was the standout top English 2-year-old. They put him away after that to come here. Battleground looks a real tough sort as well. And Lucky Vega probably brings the best form to the table, having won the Grade 1 last time out. So I thought it'd be between the 3 of them, and my preference would be for Master of the Sea, Charlie Appleby's horse. Obviously, he won this last year with Pinatubo, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. There'll be comparisons, won't there, Barry, if this one goes in?
Yeah, very much so. And the Fillies race, pretty gorgeous for Joseph O'Brien. I know that's one that they're very keen on this weekend. She's really stood out as...
I think.
Is she the Guinea's favourite?
Yeah.
She's one of them. They're 14 to field at the moment.
In the Moyclair. Oh, what a card, Barry. It's an amazing card, isn't it? Slightly easier ground, though, we're expecting on Sunday, as I previously mentioned.
Yeah. It depends on which rain they get now. I think at the moment it's good to yielding in places maybe. Yeah. So it's just perfect racing ground. I don't think that's any excuses unless they get a deluge of rain.
Okay. I had something in my ear then, guys. I didn't quite get that.
Outsiders in this, what have we got?
Right.
60. I was looking at some of the outsiders in this race, actually. I was looking at...
in on the flying.
Trying to find something at a bigger price, maybe to back each way. But I was looking at... Perotto was one I was looking at, possibly, that could maybe sneak into the frame. For Martin Dwyer, of course, has got that big day, isn't he, tomorrow?
Oh, the pile driver. Where do you sit with the ledger?
I think Santiago might win it.
Oh dear, you're agreeing with me, which is slightly wrong. You like Master of the Seas as well, G, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's interesting. So yeah, look, this is just an unbelievable weekend. We're being treated as race fans.
The French is huge, isn't it? Just very quickly, you've got Stradivarius running in the foy, haven't we, up against
Not many rivals, are
No,
there?
he's against Anthony Van Dijk again.
Oh, he beats him all day long.
We've got even so the Irish Oaks winner against Rabihar in the Vermeil.
Rabiar's going to be a
Yeah,
short price.
she's odds on, isn't she?
Rabih's odds on,
She looks
yeah.
a smart
If
filly.
Stradivarius goes and wins on Sunday, which I think they're looking at field, you have to expect him to do.
I think he'll win. I think
Tom
it'll be
Segal's
Anthony
put him
Van
up,
Dijk.
hasn't he, G, for the price thing?
Do you think he's quick enough?
Well, it depends about the ground for him, really. If it's
If
a
it's
bog, which we now know he's got absolutely no problems whatsoever with soft ground.
Could be some art though, couldn't it? If all the big guns turn
One of
up.
the best, yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
if he wins on Sunday, does he shorten for the arc?
Definitely has to, doesn't he? He's winning the Foy, which is what Valgeist won last year.
Don't know.
You don't know.
No, I don't know if he will.
Ooh.
Not a great
I think
race,
the
is it?
The Grand Prix de Paris is going to be the race, isn't it, Sunday?
Yeah.
If Serpentine can win again and do something impressive. But he's taking on, what's he taking on? English King, Mogul, Highland Chief. I mean, he's beaten most of them before, hasn't he, in the Derby? So
Irish St Ledger, of course, as well on Sunday. Twilight Payment up
Apparently,
against
the
Sovereign.
Derby took a lot out of Serpentine.
Oh, okay.
An awful lot out of him, so that's why we're only seeing him now, and I think he stays in training for next year.
Very
A
interesting.
lot to look forward to with him.
You heard it here first on Racing Post
Sunday.
Live. I can also relate to you that Frenetic, who looks to me to be the mover, Barry, she's playing around down at the start, but she's the one I can see on the market that's coming for the late support. A serious face there. He's looking into it. We'll get Barry back. All right then, Enzo. Who are you expected to call leading here? Do you think it will just be Frenetic all the way? We saw yesterday, didn't we, with Sprite in the first race that we covered here on Racing Post Live. I thought she was going to get taken on. Sometimes you can think too much into these things. If she gets an easy lead, she will win.
I thought Sprite was definitely going to get caught yesterday, and it couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, she
just
absolutely flew home.
Yeah, just
from
very
the front.
well handicapped, I think,
So
wasn't
yeah, I mean, Sacred's getting really, really short now.
Mohawk King's
Very
drifting.
strong.
Look how weak he is in exchanges. What's happened to Mohawk King?
12. So the market says this is between three guys. I'm hoping for Still Bull. Not a lot of love for Frenetic here in the studio. Barry, you've come back. We were just saying that Frenetic and Sacred look like they've got this market to themselves.
Yeah, the two fillies getting back to the exclusion almost of everything else in it. Yeah, the Sacred, massive amount of money for that. I think there's nearly £1 million matching it, and 3/4 of it is for her.
Oh, come on. We're getting warming up now then here on Racing Post Live. Good luck wherever you're playing. This is a sizzling renewal of the Flying Childers. And look, Sacred's on the near side. Tony Ennis is going to call you home. We'll be dipping in. Good luck wherever you are playing. I'm hoping Steel Bull. Graeme Rodway is saying do not worry about anything for Sacred. The drop back a trip will not be a problem. Barry Orr taking her on. Enzo taking her on as well. Enzo, over to you it goes.
Thank you. Burning Cash, something I'm good at, is the last to go in. The Learjet, the absentee. So we're almost set for the Flying Childers. Fast and Furious here on Racing Post Live. Group 2 for the juveniles. Hot favourite Sacred. They're off. Burning Cash slightly missed it. Really good start. Winter Power really pinged out the stalls to go on and lead early on. Frenetic in green is up there as well.
Two
They're
groups.
splitting. There's 3 going towards the near side. Winter Power is one of those near side. Also going near side is Sacred. And the other one, I think, is Measure of Magic near side. Meanwhile, far side's Frenetic in the green is up there. Light blue Ventura Tormenta's up there as well, far side. Also, Perotto is far side. Who's in front? Maybe the near side as the angle changes. Maybe Winter Power has overall command, but Frenetic is right there. In the centre, Mohawk King's not too far
Where's
away either.
Sacred?
Sacred's under a bit of a ride here.
She's on the wrong side, lads. Look at the Steel Bull. Come on, the bully. Come
Still
on,
Bull's
Crowley.
going well. Ventura Tormenta every chance. Frenetic's
Mohawk.
still there. Sacred's coming now, near side. Here she comes.
Come on, the
Hot
Bull.
favourite towards the near side.
Come on, the Bull.
Oh, she's hanging across the track a bit.
Oh,
Mohawk
she's got
Chief.
this, hasn't
Come
she, I
on.
think? I think she's
Go
going
on,
to get it. The
Sacred.
Bull's not finding much.
Sacred near side. You
better
better
believe
believe
it's up
it's
there
going
as
with a
well.
run
Wow,
there
there's a little
too.
bit of skirmishing. Here comes the Fav. You
Sacred,
better believe
you better believe
Steel
it.
Bull's got absolutely mullered. Oh,
Sacred, you better believe it. Oh, Mr. Second, it's happened again. Mr. Second beating a short head. You better believe it has beaten Sacred. How has she not won?
I'll tell you what, lads, there'll be a steward here, 100%. Head on hands in the studio. Before we dissect that form, you better believe it has pulled it off for Nigel Tinkler.
Yep.
And Rowan Scott, they've ended up all over the track there. Steel Bull definitely should have finished third. Barry Orr, what did the market say?
She hit a low of 104, so 25 to 1 on for 1,650 quid Sacred. Now, obviously, that's rules of racing. So you think there's going to be an inquiry, do you?
I do, 100%.
I think it'll be fine.
Now, the rules as they are in this country, I'm not suggesting you should be thrown out, but we're watching the replay now as it comes on. Graeme Robb, I want to come to you with this. He bursts through. Sacred just hangs over a little bit to the near side. You're thinking she's coming to do it. Watch Steel Bull, gets Muller for third. This is Rowan Scott. Where's the stick?
Yeah.
Oh, he's aiming as well. Oh, no. That's a definite beeline.
Steel Bull, isn't he, a bit?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
Steel
think.
Bull's been mullered.
Yeah.
I don't think he can
hands and
lose
heels
it.
all the way. Didn't pick the stick up, did he?
No.
Hands and
We're
heels.
watching a head-on here now. For me, he's just veered it a little bit. Now, I did say pre-race, this is not such after-timing. I said I thought she had to think
Is she
about
ducked
it
it
at
again,
York.
do you think? Is she ducked
Definitely.
That's 3 races
In her
now.
defence,
She's traded
she was
odds
on the wrong side, wasn't she, as well?
Yeah.
In her defence, all the pace was up the far side, and she almost.
But
Third time
like
she's
we've
traded
seen
short
with
now.
Gayloon, though, lads, this is one that you're going to make excuses for it, aren't you?
Yeah.
How long can you keep banging this drum? I don't really know. Graeme,
You
were on it, so come on, tell me what you think. It's often when you're on these horses you get the real feel.
I thought she was going to win, but it's just that little wobble, where she had like half a furlong out. She seemed to sort of take a little wander around, and that maybe just cost her the race. But I mean, 40 to 1 the winner, and you're on a short price favourite. You get done by 40 to 1 shot. It's head in hands.
Betfair SP of 50, Graeme.
50.
Betfair SP of 50. Yeah,
And
there's
1.04
no worry call
in
either,
race.
is there?
I feel for you, man, because I said you're on a red hot run, and you said it's all going to change now that you've said that.
I think
And,
the
there's
stewards will speak to him, Rowan Scott. But
They're definitely, absolutely.
Yeah,
He's up for a couple of days.
They
I
don't
think,
have to. They don't have to. They don't have to even announce an inquiry, do they, on track?
They're telling me to look at the rag in my. What's going on, guys? It's Burning Cash. They're saying it was 150 to 1 shot, Paul Midgley, and they're saying that he was an
black and
unlucky
white.
running. Did you see that out there? Burning Cash. You gave mention. Yeah, he's coming out just behind Still Bull at the minute. This is not what Graeme Rodway wants to be watching here in the studio. We can see it just as the winner and the second start begin to lock it. Yeah.
She's veers his favourite just there. When
Yeah,
Tom
again,
picks a
Rowan
stick
Scott's
up.
done Burning Cash as well. So, okay, he's been stopped. So you have to say that.
He'll take a slap on the wrist in the days, though, won't he, to win a Group 2?
Absolutely. This horse finished last in the gym crack. So check out your members section if you're wondering how on earth a 40 to 1 shot has taken out what looked like a classy shot. Before that was on a hat trick as well. As we're just seeing Rowan, I think he knows he's been a little bit naughty there, Rowan. But the stick wasn't up, so
That's why the rules are so frustrating for so many in this country, isn't it? It's that kind of win at all costs kind of thing that can border on dangerous.
we're not suggesting that, we're watching the head on it just in the corner of the eye. I've got to talk to you chaps as well, so I don't want to concentrate on it too much. But
You think he's brought this horse across?
Well,
towards the near
Paul
side?
Running's not going to be very happy with him on Burning Cash. The guys in the studio
Steel
there.
Ball
No,
gets-
Steel Ball's been
as
mullered.
well.
He was coming to the end of his tether, I think, Barry Steel Ball, wasn't he? But he looked put for third
He's
to
come
me.
right across. I just saw the head on there, and he has brought him right across. And on the other side, then you had the favourite who, despite Tom Marquand having his whip in the left hand, was drifting over towards the stand side or the far side as well. So
She was doing it of her own accord, do you think,
she
Barry?
was
do
doing
you?
it completely independently of
Yeah.
the other two. Yeah, of the
I-
winner and.
She is a very, very talented filly, but she is a
10
bit of a
seconds
thinker
now,
for
Tom
me.
Marquand his last
He's
20 minutes.
definitely.
Another second for Tom Marquand. You hear it heard it first. Oh, again, we might want him on this show later on. Then. You're not really doing
I
it.
like Tom, but it's just frustrating. I think he's been so unlucky. He was unlucky twice at Windsor. He was unlucky again at Goodwood. He just keeps getting. He'll get one go his way soon in a photo.
Let's
and it'll
talk
turn.
about this.
What about in running layers of the favourite?
Oh,
She's
man.
run at 1.12 in the Queen Mary, 1.15 in the Lowther, and 1.04, 25 to 1 on there.
With Gayloon, we've seen with Afitak, we've had 3 favourites so far that have gone really short then in running, haven't we? And well, certainly the first 2 did. And do you give these horses? Are you a forgiving punter out there? Let us know. Lots to talk about from the Flying Childers there. Get your social comments in. #RP Live, Facebook Live, or YouTube. Great to have you aboard. It doesn't get more dramatic than it does here in this studio, let me tell you. And head on hands from the pair of you. Why were you putting your head on hands?
I was just
'Cause
amazed.
You
how-
took Sacred on.
I took her on, but I was just amazed how she didn't win. I just can't believe if you stop that race 100 yards out, and you told me that horse doesn't win that race, I wouldn't have believed you.
Well,
It's
I
just a
think
surprise.
she's in front, like 100 yards out, and
can't
then
believe she's
just
not
near
won.
the line, just not.
And when
in
you
front.
look to see who she's against, you think, oh, it's the 40 to 1 shot.
And yet Barry's right. There will be punters out there, Barry, won't there, that will mark her up for having to make that mid-race move on the wrong side.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, she's a bookie's horse at the moment, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a layers horse. That was slow point 2.87 seconds, guys. So it's, again, it's not quite drying up as much as perhaps some people were punting out, myself included. I thought it would be a little bit quicker there. So if the sun comes out, that will change. But that wind, there's no rain around. So I think it will be sort of goody firmy tomorrow for the Ledger, that's for sure. So I don't know, dramatic stuff. You will, of course, know straight away on the Racing Post website exactly what's going on. You'll be able to hear Rowan Scott talking about it. They'll be going into the steward's room now. If you are Tom Marquand, you're arguing for your life, aren't you? Let's talk about Tom Marquand quickly. All these seconds in a row. I would wager, Graham, that if you are having second, especially as a tipster, for example, your radar's right, isn't it?
Yeah, I always think that the worst time is when they're running terribly. You know, like
exactly.
you're sticking them up and they're just never running a race. I mean, that's a bit worrying. Well, when you go second, I always think that the bunch of winners are coming.
It's just exactly.
So,
it's just
so what we should all be doing next week is backing Tom Marquand blind
because it's going to turn.
It's all going to turn, and when it turns, they're all going to win.
Exactly. That's a great shout.
He's not doing anything wrong.
That's why you're in.
He's not doing anything wrong in terms of his tactics. His race positioning is good.
You called it.
I don't think it's just. I don't know.
Now let's talk about the year he's had, Tom Marquand. Okay,
longer than most people's.
It is because during lockdown, where was he? He was down under, winning on, of course, a day, and he was riding on Tuesday at Warwick Farms and things like this, and big graded winners. They all love him down there. When does burnout come into this sort of thing? The rest of them are fresher, aren't they? I'm not suggesting Tom is one of the strongest jockeys out there. He's physically taken the sport to a new level, him and Ashley Murphy and the lads like that. But I don't know. Mentally now it's going to be getting inside his head a bit, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, whenever you have second, whether you be a punter or a jockey.
First place loser, some people would say.
Yeah, it's driving you nuts, especially when they're coming to win like that and trade at 1.4. I mean, next time out, Barry, we'll have to lay that one back in running.
Yeah. What about disappointments in the race? Frenetic was disappointing, Barry, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I didn't think anything had later, but and they didn't really. But yeah, just mid-race, her run came to petered out. She was very disappointing. I think Ventura Tormenta, very disappointing as well for a horse that's won a Grade 2.
Yeah, it looks like they might want to give that one a little break now.
We have made some money for the charity though, because Barry's lay of sacred.
Never looked at that, Barry.
You cannot keep a good man down, especially not the big hitter from Betfair. So just looking at Tom Marquand's rides actually coming up. He's got quite a few tomorrow, as you would imagine. One Master will be a well-fancied horse for him. He doesn't actually have anything in the ledger, which is
he had English King, didn't he? But obviously,
of course,
he's gone
back on English King.
Yeah,
that would have been the story.
They
wouldn't
went back
it?
to him cap in hand, and then now obviously
dropped off for Dettori in the Derby. Beats Dettori in the Derby.
Just reading they want Dettori to ride him in France. English King.
There you go. You can't make these things up, can you? He does have one more ride today in our final race, the 3:45. He's on something called Apollo 1 in the Flying Scotsman's listed race. One of the market movers that were flagged up on the Racing Post
Best
website
horse to win the Flying Scotsman?
You tell me.
Oh, it's an easy one.
No idea.
Well, Arthur won it last year.
Frankel, the best one, surely
did he?
Frankel.
Was this the race he won?
Was it?
It was the race
It was a conditions race, wasn't it?
Far got withdrawn at the start. Do you remember? You remember this? There was only 3 runners left.
I remember him.
Frankel absolutely hacked
You're
up.
right. 2010, 10 years ago.
There's your racing trivia.
That's why you're in.
2 in it or something, weren't there?
Not just a workaholic.
There was 4. Far. I remember Far got withdrawn at the start, and then I think someone was saying they were watching the race with Dettori was riding Far, and obviously they're watching it. And Dettori just said afterwards, I'm glad we got with Joy, wouldn't have beaten that. Frankel obviously won by 20 lengths. And
wow.
The rest is history.
And Far is now Godolphin's flagship sire, pretty much alongside Debarwi, isn't he? So.
Yeah, we were robbed of that match-up in the Flying Scotsman.
We were. Okay, but we're not being robbed of 2 more races here on Racing Post Live. Are you enjoying the energy levels out there today? I am. Friday feeling. We have absolutely got it. 2 more days to come as well, Saturday and Sunday. Don't need to go anywhere. You're not allowed onto a race course. It doesn't matter. We're going to bring it to you. All the real-time analysis. We speak as we find it. And it is the feature race coming up next at 3:15. It is the Doncaster Cup. Shall we move on swiftly on, guys? And Barry Orr, you can take us through where the market movers have been.
Yeah, at the moment, Spanish Mission. It was hard to split these earlier on this morning, Spanish Mission and Revolver, but market speaking heavily in the favour of Spanish Mission and William Buick. That's 2.84 now, which is just 15 to 8, 11 to 4 Revolver. Eagles by Day, some small money for that into 7.6, which is 13 to 2, and it's 11 to 1 bar. I'm laying the 2 of them at the head of the market. I'm going to Dutch them. So if you want to do that, Graeme, I'm going to take 25 quid out of. Going to take 40 quid out of Spanish Mission. 40
on Spanish Mission line.
Yeah, so 286. Happy to lay it at that price.
286.
I'm going to take 25 quid out of Revolver at 3.8.
3.8.
And have the rest of the field.
Tony Ennis is shaking his head.
Oh, don't lay Revolver. Come on, Revolver's the one. You've convinced me, Dave Orton.
I sent you a message first thing this morning. So Barry Orr dutching the first Revolver's 2 in the market.
Yeah.
Dave's all over Revolver.
If you could, have you laid Revolver as well?
Yeah, we got £40 lay Spanish Mission at 2.86 and a £25 lay of Revolver at 3.8.
So So if Spanish Mission wins, we lose about 50 quid. And if Revolver wins, we lose 30 quid. But everything else in the races win the 65 quid. So I'm happy with that. The thing with Revolver is, it's gas to think, he's by Slade Power. It just throws the whole breeding thing out the window. A Diamond Jubilee winner, and he needs to step out like he's stepping up to 2 Mile 2. When he won in Pontefract that day off 57, he went back to the scene of the crime then and won off 98 last time out. He has to, you can't give away distance, but weight stops trains. I know on his rating now, he's up around these. He's not far off them and gets the allowance as a 3-year-old. But I think this is his Waterloo. Spanish Mission, the ex-David Simcock horse, I thought that got everything its own way almost in Chester. Be happy to take that on as well. The horse I like in it, if I was backing one to win, would be Eagles by Day. Not far off Stradivarius and Ebenar in the Lonsdale Cup, and Stradivarius and Goodwood. So I think this is more, it's not a vintage renewal, I think it's fair to say, and this is more his level. So Eagles by Day for me would be the bet in the race, but I'm happy to take on the top two at the head of the market.
Yeah, should we just before we go across the panel, I mean, you were shaking your head throughout that, so we need to get to that. Tony Ennis, I've got a feeling that G might agree with you though. Stradivarius obviously won this, Stradivarius I should say, won this in 2019. Thomas Hobson in 2018. 3-year-olds have won it. Desert Skyline was one. Revolver, of course, is the 3-year-old in the lineup. The other one was Sadler's Rock back in 2011. Of course, Time's Up. Do you remember him? Dual winner. A couple of years ago for John and Ed Dunlop, who's one of my favourite horses. So Mark Prescott has won this, of course, in 2015 with Palisator.
Oh, Palisator.
Didn't get that. Oh, Palisator ended up over the sticks, didn't he? Qatar Racing's God, he got his hands on him, didn't he? Which is great. And he won some good races for him. Graeme Rodway, where are you playing?
Yeah, my view on this race is very similar to Barry's. I don't fancy the Fab at all. I think he's a doubtful stayer for a start. I mean, that's one of the features of this race for me. There's a bunch of doubtful stayers in it. There's only a few that we absolutely can be sure stay the trip. Revolver's one of them, the Grand Vizier, Island Brave, and they're all fairly big prices, bar Revolver, of course. I'm not sure Red Verdon stays. And Spanish Mission, 2 mile 2 furlongs around Doncaster, takes a bit of getting. I'm not sure that he's a certain stayer. I'm definitely keen to take him on, but I quite like Island Brave. A massive price. If I had to have a bet. That was so impressive at Ascot a couple of starts ago. Now I know he's well beaten in the E-Ball last time, but the E-Ball weren't a bad race.
Island Brave?
Yeah, Island Brave, yeah.
Rated 98, the same rating as Revolver, but yet giving him what? Giving him £12.
Yeah, but it's weight for ages, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, I know, but he's
what's Revolver rated? About 90 odd, isn't he?
You were in such good form as well, weren't you?
But you see, this horse won so easily at Ascot. Like, he really won well, and I just think because he's trained by Heaven Main and ridden by Martin Dwyer, he's he's been overlooked.
What happened last time then?
It was the E-Ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what happened to him? He was 13 to 21.
It was 2 miles at Ascot round the bend, and then 1 mile 6 furlong at the long straight at York. And I think that E-Ball was a good race. I mean, that Fajera Prince thing that won it, that's one of the favourites for the Group 1 on Sunday at the
Irish St Ledger, yeah.
And Yukon Glen was 5th. That won the race at Haydock. So I don't think that was a bad run by Island Brave. And he's a certain stayer, That for me is everything. Just a bit of a shame that you can't back him each way 3 places. But you can back him 3 places on Betfair if you just want to back him a place.
What is he in that market? Should we have a look?
Yeah, should we have a look at 3 places on Betfair?
Yeah, he's 6.8.
Yeah, he's currently
Graeme
slightly
Rodway
bigger,
making
yeah.
a coherent argument for the absolute rag. And I say the absolute rag because it's, if you look at the books, it's sort of 10 to 1 Salino, isn't it? Who came up against Spanish Mission, of course, last time. James Fanshaw's got a great record at this meeting. Has he won this race? I'm just going to look down and see if he has. He's had 2 places in the race as well. How can he possibly reverse form? Ran really well at the Royal meeting, didn't he, Selena? Let's go up the card.
That's another doubtful stayer, though, isn't he? I'm not sure he really wants 2 mile 2 furlong.
Big eye catcher, staying on strongly at Royal Ascot. Ran deplorably when I backed him next time, like a lot of people would do, and then back to form.
Got the £5 penalty, but no, I think 2 miles out of 2 furlongs, Island Brave got a good chance of beating him over this distance. I mean, don't get me wrong, he lacks a lot in class compared to a lot of them, but half this field I don't think will stay, and I'll be more than happy to back him each way. Even 3 places, what is he, 7.6 3 place market on Betfair, you can back him there. You probably want to have a bet on the win as well, just in case. I mean, it's what is
Right.
it, 50 or something.
If this comes within shouting distance, I want to see Junkanoo type celebrations coming up. You have been told by Graeme Rodway, get on the rag of the field in the Doncaster Cup that's coming up. In around about 15 minutes time. Let's have a social on the screen then. Good to see you. 141 Yorks. Rubbish Group 2 Doncaster Cup. More like a listed race. Should we concentrate on that before we get our selections, Enzo?
I think Stayers is difficult this year, isn't it? Obviously, Stradivarius is up there, isn't he? He's the top. I think you've got your second tier, your Naef Road and your MBH. They're the sort of second and third best.
Why is
players.
MBH not here?
This
would have been a good spot for her.
Why is
She won
Naef
at the
Road
meeting.
not here?
Naef Road's going to the Irish St Ledger.
Okay. I think this race was perfect for him, though, by the way. I think he'd have won it. 2 mile 2. So you've got Naef Road and MBH. I think the next... And then what's after them? There's nothing really, is there?
We need room for improvement. Don't
Well,
we?
More Stayers to appear.
There's horses like Island Brave who's going to suddenly come up.
There's room for improvement. Another shout for Island Brave. All right, so what are you tipping, Enzo?
I think I'm with you. The more I've looked at, I think
Yes.
Revolver will stay, despite this. Obviously, look at it. You've got a Slade Power and a Zebedee, haven't you? With
I know.
running over 2 mile 2. But
Yeah.
despite that, I think he does stay. I watched him at Pontefract. He might be interesting. One Barry will tell us that in running Revolver, because I think didn't he trade bigger in the run at Pontefract when he won last time? He comes under pressure, doesn't he, Revolver?
Well,
and he
that's
fines and fines and fines. I
big
think he'll
baby.
stay. I've got him staying. I've got the Grand Vizier as a definite stayer.
Oh, yeah.
But not sure he's quite good enough to win a race like this. I just think Revolver will just grind them into submission. He won't win by very far. He might even go bigger in the run. So I probably be one of those where I'd put him up, try and get a bit of force and running Revolver.
Can you imagine it? If it was like heavy ground, you'd be absolutely punting the
Grand Vizier.
Wouldn't you? You would fancy Grand Vizier.
Someone put him up in the paper
Does
today. It
stay
might have been
well.
the dark horse section. I can't remember, but someone's gone for him.
All he does is stay, that horse.
Jim Crowley needs a change of fortune. A lot of people think he might go through the card. Elliot Hackney, one of our producers out there, won't be buying lunch tomorrow. He needs a change of fortune. But you say King of the Stayers. Ian Williams is bang up there, isn't he? He's just absolutely mustard with the Stayers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spanish Mission, did you think Jamie Spencer was brilliant on Spanish Mission when he used to ride him? He used to put him to sleep. When he won at Belmont that race, and he put him to sleep, got him there, won a nose. I think he rode him last time, didn't he, for Balding, Spencer? But they've obviously gone Buick this time. Spencer's up there as well. I just thought, I don't know, I don't know why they're changing it. If I was Andrew Balding, I'd have left Jamie Spencer on Spanish Mission because I think Spencer suits the horse, puts him to sleep and produces him late.
So we're for Revolver.
Yeah.
Why don't you like Revolver? What is
What's
it
wrong
about
with
him? Because
Revolver?
you haven't really mentioned him.
I just don't know if he's good enough, you know. He's obviously graduating from handicaps. Now, we've just had the social saying, yes, there's nothing more than the glorify of a listed race, but it's still a listed race, you know. He's only been winning handicaps. Yeah, he does it as he like. And of course, was it, I think Enzo mentioned Alleluia was also of Sir Mark Prescott's that basically graduated from handicaps and then won this race in similar way to the way that Revolver has done. But Alleluia was a pretty good horse.
Well, well, I mean, look,
I'm not saying Revolver isn't going to be. He might well be, but just when you sit there and you see horse coming out of handicaps,
he's won at Donny.
He's never very impressive though, is he? He doesn't really. He's always workmanlike, isn't he? He's one of these grinders.
he just stays.
A lot of people wonder how Sir Mark Prescott gets these blue-blooded horses off these marks like a 58. Well, you know, it's about again, go back to the comment, the quote that you'll see when you bring up the form of Revolver. He's the type to improve, which is £41 in handicap, 6 from 6 in handicap, which is some feat in itself. And Sir Mark Prescott will be patting himself on the back for this one. But he also says he's quite raw and he's quite babyish. Show me a Prescott horse that is not raw and babyish, that's running beyond a mile as a 3-year-old, especially first time out. They often come out the gate slowly. It's one way to get them by handicaps, isn't it? And at home, they just train them differently. They let them find their feet on the race course.
And you'll be thinking, as a punter, you're always trying to get into the mind of the trainer, and you just think to yourself that the thing that does ring alarm bells with Revolver for me is that there's no doubt if Sir Mark Prescott thinks this horse is up to winning a Doncaster Cup, then he could have probably had another 2 or 3 handicap wins out of him before he went.
He could have gone straight to the Says, couldn't he? I mean, he's given him a 28-day break now.
Yeah.
Why not go straight to the Says? Do you think he just wants to get another run into? He could have fun. I don't know. Not blow the handicap.
Well,
Well, 98, you're getting in a Says.
Yeah, he won't. I'm assuming if he won this, he wouldn't be going there, would he?
Well, the weight's already out, so it'd be a £5 penalty, wouldn't it? So, if
Maybe.
he goes and
Maybe.
hoses up by
Maybe.
5 or 6 lengths here, we have a new favourite for the Cesarowicz. Barry, or
Could I
get ready
back
for
him?
the quotes.
Could I also back him just to beat Spanish Mission? Barry will tell us. There's a market, I think, isn't there? The A versus B. I'd be interested in backing Revolver to beat Spanish Mission, definitely. Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Enzo. 1.76 Spanish Mission, 216.
I'm all over Revolver there. trying to work out
That
what's
must
better.
be tempting you in a little bit.
Oh,
I wanna-
definitely.
Yeah.
6 to 5, 5 to 6.
You found one there.
Well, I'll go. If I get 2.2, I'll be very happy with that.
Well, go in and put it in.
We'll
You should
put it
get
in.
matched.
Put it in. We'll try and get
2.2?
Yeah.
How much should we have on? Is it for 20? Should we have 20? Be conservative.
20?
Yeah, well, it's all about responsible gambling. That's what we're
20.
doing. We're not advocating people putting all their
No.
all
So
their
win
wages on. It's just about having
24.
fun.
Yeah. And hopefully someone will come and hoover that up for us, maybe.
Yeah.
Spanish Mission fans out there.
Ross Briley, who's on the show tomorrow, he always talks about hoovering up markets. If you'd like to hoover that one up, Ross, if you're watching, that'd
There
be
you go.
great.
Yeah, it's been matched already, that one.
We've been matched already. Happy days. We've got a match bet here. How are you playing in the Doncaster Cup? We're about 10 minutes to go. The feature race for us here on Racing Post Live. One more after that, the 3:45 as well. Still time to get your comments in for the panellists. Myself, Dave Orton. We had a great comment about Enzo, didn't we? You know, top course commentator, basically. And
It was his mum, wasn't it?
it may well have been. It may well have been.
She's watching.
Is she? All right.
Probably.
Yeah, I'd tell my mother not to watch this too much, actually, I must admit. She wouldn't know how to, that's the first and foremost. But a lot of people, let's talk about that. It's quite interesting, the way you can do this if you're not sure. I've heard about a lot of people that got different screens and stuff. You can cast things from your phone now, can't you, if you've got one of these modern tellies? It's a brilliant way to do it, actually.
Well, I have all sorts of bother trying to do that in my house.
You don't look like the most technical bear I've ever
I
seen.
mean, I've
I've
tried
got
to
be
do
honest.
it, but I can get the sound.
You've got like an iPhone 2 there, haven't you?
I can get the sound on, right? But I can't get it to play any footage.
Infuriating.
Yeah.
Is
Give it 10 years, my kids will show me how to do it.
Yeah, I'd say give it 1 or 2 years if they can't already do it. Probably doing it behind your back, aren't they? But yeah, you can cast it onto your television. That's one way to do it. All sorts of different ways on your phone, of course. Facebook Live and YouTube if you're watching here on Racing Post Live. Myself, Dave Orton, Tony Ennis, top course commentator, calling me all the way, and Graeme Rodway, the top tipster, and Barry Orr from Betfair. What are you doing tomorrow then, Barry? It's a footy, isn't it? It's coming back. Do you have a team, Barry? Do you support a team?
I do, yeah. I'm a Spurs man.
Oh, so hang on a minute. We beat you in a friendly. I say we. I'm a Watford supporter. Still can't believe we went down. No VAR. We beat Spurs in a friendly actually last Saturday. It was a pretty feisty game, eh? United supporter here. Yeah.
Good things for the
But
top four.
if you know Enzo like I do, when I first met him, he told me he support United. I thought to myself, without saying it to him, I didn't know well enough. He just likes the the glory. You know, absolute glory
No,
hunter.
since 1983 when they played Brighton in the FA Cup final.
Is that when it was?
Yeah, that's when I started. My brother supported them as kind of
in the
oldest
Milk
brother
Cup.
and kind of yeah.
G?
Brian Robson, all them days.
Well, I'm a bit of a. I sort of tend to support Liverpool, but I am a West Ham season ticket holder.
What?
And I see a lot of Dagenham and Redbridge. So, does that make sense?
None whatsoever. You're a season ticket holder at the Hammers,
Yeah.
and yet you prefer Liverpool.
Well, you see, when I was brought up, I brought up as a Liverpool fan. But then, you can't really change your team. But I don't live in Liverpool, so now I thought, well, I'll go to West Ham. Went to West Ham a few times, got sort of going there, and then ended up at Dagenham a few times. And I'm a bit of a nomad.
You're.
Hedging your bets.
I had a different word in my head actually. That I can tell you, but yeah, yeah, all right, fair enough. Season ticket at the Hammers, God, blimey, absolutely. Yeah, punished you have been, haven't you? But you could be better through for a better season. We've got Spurs, Watford, United.
It doesn't matter now because no one's going to go to games, are they, for the season? You'd imagine so. It shouldn't really be.
Yeah, that's something,
that
isn't
way,
it? They're watching racing at the moment, the football
It's a shame
sphere.
because I always think racing, if there's one sport with a huge outdoors, look at Doncaster, absolutely massive. If there's one place you could probably go and socially distant, they did so much good work, didn't they, as well? It was such a shame it's gone this way.
Okay, so listen, we like to digress on this show. We know you love to do it. But we've got another tip for you, actually. Let's see what Bobby Beavers thinks about the Doncaster Cup.
The 3:15 is the Doncaster Cup, over 2.25 miles on Town Moor, and I actually narrowed this down to 2 when picking my selection. You've got Revolver in here for Sir Mark Prescott and Luke Morris. He's on a massive winning spree at the moment. It's like he's forgotten how to lose, but this is a different test for him today. Can he cut it in the Doncaster Cup? Remains to be seen. So I've gone with my other selection, Eagles by Day. He won the John Smith Silver Cup. That was back in July. I think he did a great effort last time out in the Lonsdale Cup. That was behind MBR on the Knavesmire, and I think he ticks a lot of boxes. For me, Eagles by Day for the combination of David O'Mara and Danny Tudhope. Eagles by Day to win the Doncaster Cup of 2020.
Passionate few from the Wizard of Beavers there, talking down to us. Absolutely. I still imagine the crowd underneath Bobby there when he's talking. Eagles by Day, we haven't mentioned him, have we? 11-2 shot, so he absolutely ought to. guess what happened when he won at York? I wrote an analysis for that race, and he beat the Johnson horse, who's not quite shown his communique, who bounced back that day. And there was a horse, I'm going to have to get it up now, there was a horse that came there to say, it was the Haggis horse, the Stayers horse. Anyway, when he won on his debut, basically beating Communique in the Lonsdale Cup, it was John Smith Silver Cup, I should say. Universal Order was the horse that came there, do you remember? Yeah. And looked like he was going to win, didn't quite get home. He really looked like a horse that you might think Ebor for. They were talking about maybe Champions Day at Ascot. I'm a bit surprised that they ran him 10 days later in the Goodwood Cup behind Stradivarius. It wasn't a bad run at all, beating 5 lengths, but then they went back to York last time, and it just looked like a horse that had, I don't know, he's a tricky one, isn't he?
Over long distances, to have those 3 hard races,
and,
mile 5, 2 mile, 2 mile for furlong.
He was difficult for Michael Bell, his former trainer, to get right, wasn't he? Even I just thought David O'Mara, absolute genius, might have found a key, but according to official ratings, he's £1 higher on official ratings in Spanish. Yeah, top rating. I mean, you can see where the love's coming from Bobby there, and it was a passionate view, wasn't it? All over.
Out of the great race mare, Miss United.
Oh, yes.
Incomparable Dennis Winters.
Yes, indeed.
She won the Lily Langtree in Goodwood. We were all in Galway, and the whole racecourse cheered for her. It seemed like the whole racecourse was on her that day. Yeah,
you literally cannot understand a word he's saying, can you? You've got absolutely no idea, but which makes you think he's being shrewder than he's letting on,
There's nothing better, is there, when you're at the racecourse and like the whole racecourse is on the winner and you're on it. But there's nothing worse than when you're at the racecourse and the whole course is on the winner and you're on the loser.
Did you never back Miss United? She was one of the toughest mares you've ever seen, wasn't she?
She was a likeable filly, wasn't she?
Yeah, lovable, absolutely, yeah. Okay, so listen, any love in the market for Eagles by Day, Barry?
Yeah, he's relatively strong, it has to be said. Earlier on this morning, 7.2. He's 6.6 now, so he's into 11-2. Spanish Mission Drifter out to 2-1 now, 305. And Revolver come in for a little bit of support, is into 5-2 now, having been around the 11-4 mark. So they're the 3 for money at the top of the market. It's 10-1 bar now.
I'm getting really excited about this. I know you are out as well, because we've got some more social media comments coming in. Spleenies, Revolver, keep it simple. And that's what basically I said to you first thing this morning, didn't I?
First message
bang early, wasn't it?
7:15, fast asleep. Revolver.
So I'm with you. I'm with you out there. I don't know, I was seeing the ball big with this one. And like you say, we said it's a weak race. We see people out there saying it's more like a listed race. I can think he can take the step up here. And what about, okay, let's think about the Cesaro with Revolver. If he comes second, beating a short head to Spanish Mission, if he comes a length, do you see? Is it like Santiago against Stradivarius immediately becomes St. Ledger favourite because he's up against the big boys? What does he have to do to go into favouritism for the Cesarewitch?
Well, I think he probably needs to win this well. I mean, it is a Group 2, but it's not a top Group 2, is it? So if he goes and gets beat by Island Brave, for example, he's not going to be going into too short of price favouritism for the Cesarewitch.
It's currently joint, 10-1 joint. He is.
Coltrane and
Revolver, both 10s.
The Melrose.
I don't see him getting a lot shorter than 10s unless he wins well.
Is that Ocean Wind for Roger Teal, isn't it? The bumper horse.
Yeah, it's about 14s. What a Lincoln was there.
Staghorn.
Staghorn's about 12s.
Goodwood horse, is it? I don't know really. I put out Diocletian for that. I thought that ran really well in the Old Borough Cup. Better ground, bit more of a trip as well. Balding's second string, love a second string. It's a proper race again, and it's an interesting race, isn't it? We were talking about it a little bit yesterday with Keith Melrose. You can get it off quite a low rating, can't you?
Yeah, it's a weird race. Is it like a draw race as well?
Yeah,
it's like a 2 mile.
Is it the higher the draw, the better, isn't it?
Yeah, which
you don't want to be on
sense, does
on
it,
the
really?
flank, yeah, and
because like at Newmarket, I think the low draw's on the inside, so you want to be coming around the bend, but you actually want to be going wide around that bend.
What was the name of the Frankie Dettori horse for Jamie Osborne that kept wide all the way? It had to be Frankie, didn't it?
Geordie Land, was that?
No, it wasn't Geordie Land. I will get up, but you can tell us out there. We haven't got time to be looking at all that, but yeah, Cesarewitch is coming up, which we are covering. We are covering here on Racing Post Live. One of my favourite staying races of the entire year. It's the staying handicap, G, isn't it? If you win at Royal Ascot, if you win a Chester Cup or something like that, obviously I haven't judged Chester Cup this year, everyone talks about the Says, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much. And the Ebor obviously.
There are a few plots in it. You remember Withhold absolutely took it apart for Tony Bloom.
Yeah.
And never have you seen a Cesarewitch like that. Look back at that replay.
Runs tonight.
Sylvester Saduza. You've put him in the paper tonight. Yeah, Salisbury, isn't he?
Salisbury tonight, 6:30 Withhold. Yeah, I've tipped him in the paper.
What sort of price is he?
Well, he was around 3-1 last night. I think he might be a bit shorter than that. But I just thought that race sort of...
Who's he up against?
A big drop in class for him. He's down in a conditions race against a bunch of handicappers coming up. And, he's been competing in listed.
What's the ground
races.
at Salisbury?
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, he'd love that, wouldn't he?
Be
Back
right.
to form last time. He looked like he might just be losing his way a little bit, didn't he? Headgear, they drive for him, all that sort of stuff.
Never can tell. Was that the one you and Jamie?
Never can tell.
that one.
Tony Ennis thought he'd gone quiet. He's always working on something,
Well,
Enzo, when he goes across with that. Barry Orr said at the start of the show, what do we call you during this show? And you say I
You love
always
this
mention
conversation.
this.
Are they loading up yet?
They're not quite loading up. We've got to mention this. Is it Anthony? Is it Enzo? Is it Tony? You don't like Tony, do you? Why not?
It's gone a bit cold, isn't it?
Stinks of a father of four,
I was
midlife crisis.
I was trying to just sort of reinvent myself 2 or 3 years ago, but it's obviously failed.
When it's I went into Sky, I think, the day that you had obviously put out some memo or
I
something.
didn't really want to make a big thing of it, but somebody, I think one of the producers just like just sort of
Don't call him Tony anymore. Don't call him. It's got to be Anthony. I'm like
spiraled.
This reminds me of that story that we were talking about last week, Dave, where like they put you in the paper. You were doing the tipping one day. They put you in the paper. They put a picture in of Dave Orton. And actually, the byline picture of Dave Orton wasn't Dave Orton at all. It was Robert Cow. For some reason or the other.
Robert Cow was like.
Robert Cow was doing the tipping in a Racing Post for one day.
Absolutely.
That was brilliant.
I never heard of him, but I heard from Bruce Millington was the editor at that time. And
Favoured into 6-4 here,
the
lads.
guy was nearly sacked. Right, come on, let's go back to the race then. Indeed. What price is he, Barry?
6-4 hard. Revolver out to 136 to 1.
Oh, it's a great price,
130.
130.
1 bar.
Okay, Spanish Mission all the way then for the punters out there. Ignoring what we're saying. Don't ignore Tony Ennis. Last one going in. It's the Doncaster Cup.
It is. We are set. Group 2. We are ready to go. 2.25 miles. They race away for this race won by some very good stayers down the years. The Grand Vizier is one of the first to show up. Proven stayer. He's going to make the running to Spanish Mission, who's just dropping in behind. Racing in second is Ireland Brave. Red Verdon's going to sit in third place. Spanish Mission wants to be in fourth place for William Buick, just ahead of Celino in the Qatar Racing colours under young Kieran Fallon. And the back two are Eagles by Day, who's won from last, and Revolver, Dave Orton, is going to be held up last of all by Luke Morris.
I think they got lucky if you're on the Revolver like we are, Enzo, because we wanted a proper pace in this race. It all depends now whether Jim Crowley will drop anchor or not, but he's gone 3 lengths clear of Graeme Rodway's tip. Ireland Brave, you've got to be happy with him, G.
Yeah, he's got a great start, although must admit, I thought he might be coming from right at the back of the field where Revolver is, because that's how he was ridden at Ascot, but he did show loads and loads of gears. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Like, do you think they're going fast here or slow? Or
it's
what
nice
do you
to
think
see
they're
them
doing?
strung out. That's what I do know, actually.
How's that Spanish Mission price looking? Because he looked like he was just pulling a little bit. Just
Barry, tell us about the market.
The market now is 2 to 1 Spanish Mission, 11 to 4 Revolver, and 8 to 1 Eagles by Day. Grand Vizier obviously into 8 to 1 now. Betfair SP at 12.
Revolver's a massive price. I'll tell you what, they will concertina up. I'm almost certain of that. If you're on the Fab, I like the fact he's getting that ground-saving ride, like we saw in our first race on Apparate.
Yeah, he's in 5th place. He's right behind Red Verdon, isn't he? William Buick riding Spanish Mission. But back to the leader, it's still the Grand Vizier who leads. Celino's just crept into second quietly. On the inside, Ireland Brave is still there in third, the big outside. There's this gap of about 5 lengths to find Frankie on Red Verdon, who's just ahead of Spanish Mission. I wonder if William Buick might want a bit more cover. He might have wanted a horse on his outside just to give him that cover. He hasn't got that because Eagles by Day is 2 lengths behind him. They're an Indian filing behind. And Luke Morris can see them all still. Revolver. He's going to unload the bullets quite late, I think, on this one.
Young Kieran Fallon. Yeah, he had to get that in, isn't he? We don't bring him in for no good reason. I'll tell you what, lads, they are trapping a bit here, aren't they? The Grand Vizier won the Ascot Stakes at Ascot, 2 mile 4, no problems for him. Young Kieran Fallon's done his homework, hasn't he? How are we going to beat Spanish Mission? The Spanish Mission got first run on him. Not this time. Kieran is around about 5 lengths ahead of him. Who do we want to be on here, Graeme Rodway?
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's trying to make this a test, isn't he? Definitely. He's pushing on here on Jim Crowley on the leader. You do fear that might set it up for those classy horses coming from a long way behind, don't you? Like Revolver and Spanish Mission's really been put to sleep, hasn't he?
Yeah, and Revolver, I think they are just going to find out exactly what sort of horse we have got here. So we're around about 7 furlongs out, are we something like that? And I'll tell you what, Jim Crowley is starting to wind it up. He used to ride over the jumps. He's making this like a 3-mile race.
He needs to, doesn't he? Because this horse just stays the Grand Vizier. He won't want it to be a speed test in the final 2, but he's just trying to run the finish out of the others. It's still the Grand Vizier leading. Celino's got close, but not got past yet. Ireland Brave still there in 3rd place. What's the gap like to the 4th? Not so far now. Red Verdon is towing Spanish Mission into the race quite nicely. Eagles by Day is right on his hammer, and Luke Morris still waiting on Revolver. Now they're starting to push along
Here he
behind.
comes.
Pace increasing all of a sudden.
Celino, it's about to take it up, guys. Ireland Brave going it for it. Red Verdon on the inside.
Oh, Eagles by Day. Bit of bumping, Eagles by Day. Revolver there. Revolver's just hanging slightly.
Spanish Mission must have gone short, Barry.
Spanish Mission now 2.32.
Here comes Revolver. What's he got? I'll tell you what, Luke Morris is looking confident here, boys.
Yeah, I think Revolver's coming. Spanish
Come
Mission.
on, Revolver!
If he stays or not. Still there, Salino. Here's Spanish Mission.
Get him
Revolver's
out.
under pressure.
Oh, Fav's got first run. Come on, Revolver. What do you got? Luke Morris has got the action out.
Spanish Mission must be long
Fav's
on
gone,
now.
hasn't he?
He's gone clear of Salino in second
This
place.
is all over.
Revolver's not picked up. He's fired blanks today. Oh, it's Spanish Mission. Look at this. He will stay 2.25 miles. Well done to Andrew Balding and William Buick. Spanish Mission wins the Doncaster Cup. Salino's second. The Grand Vizier, to his credit, got going for third again.
Yeah, I think that was a case of disappointments in behind. We will get to them. Hats off if you were on the Spanish Mission. If you just played it simple, we've been waiting for a Fav to go in. The Jolly has obliged. 2 from 2 since joining Andrew Balding. That was smooth, wasn't it? William Buick got on. Anything you can do, Jamie Spencer, I can do better. It is that Chester form coming to the fore because Salino, who tried to get first run on this time, it made no difference whatsoever. Andrew Balding showing he is an absolute wizard at inheriting horses. Barry, how did the market play there? Must have been quite straightforward, I imagine.
It really was. Yeah, Revolver hit a low at 2.30, so just for small money. Yeah.
I guess that was 2 furlongs out, Barry, was it?
Yeah, when it seemed to be travelling. There was nothing really outside of that, Dave, to tell you the truth. It was pretty straightforward for the favourite once he took it up.
A bit disappointed with Revolver. You're not, Graeme. You kind of called that, didn't you? Didn't think he'd be good? No, I mean, was he a bit too far back, or am I making excuses?
No, I just don't think he was up to the level on the day, and a lot of them I don't think have stayed. The way Red Verdon's gone through the race, coming to 2 furlongs, 3 furlongs out, Red Verdon was travelling as well as anything. He's completely emptied out, and the reason a lot of them haven't stayed is because Jim Curley has made it a good test, hasn't he, on the Grand Vizier? But funny enough, Grand Vizier finished third. Salino was up there earlier, finished second. Really, the only horse to come from off the pace is the winner.
So this winner now, Barry, surely going to Ascot Champions Day, isn't he? I think we've got to be looking at that. Have we got any quotes coming through?
For the long distance cup.
Yeah, long distance cup, that looks like him. As you mentioned, Enzo, they've been abroad with this horse before.
Yeah, been to America, haven't they? He was good enough to win around Belmont Park.
Cadran, something like that on that weekend.
He's obviously a good traveller, so I'm sure Andrew Balding will be looking at the programme book, trying to find a Group 1 for him.
He's now 5 from 12 in his career to date. Team Valour, of course, Earl Mack involved in that. A powerful abroad operation, basically, international campaign for him at some point, I imagine. But he's gone up now to 2-2. I mean, is it beyond the realms of possibility that he's a 5-year-old next year? Are we talking about something that can maybe shake up?
He looks like he stays well, doesn't he? He switches off well enough. I mean, we don't know. He's just we have to say it's an inferior field he's beaten though today. I mean, I don't think Eagles by Day stayed, did he? He seemed to run out of petrol.
Definitely not.
Again,
Revolver as well.
And they rode him to stay as well, Enzo, didn't
Yeah.
they? And he didn't get the trip.
Doesn't get the trip. He's a 2-miler, isn't he, Eagles by Day?
O'Mara said he would stay all day after York. Maybe he just needs a little bit of a break, that horse. Maybe coming back fresh. They've got a social comment coming up on the screen. Lovely. Evocati. LOL, the expressions on their faces. I'm assuming that you must have been Graeme Rodway over there. I mean, there's no more facial expressions we're ever going to see. So, yeah, thanks for that. Good to have you on board. Keep them coming. Your social media comments, we absolutely love them. We've got one more race to go. It's a proper puzzle as well. We must solve the Flying Scotsman listed race. Told it by Tony Ennis earlier. Frankel won it 10 years earlier. Will we see anything mighty coming from out the pack? There is a hot pot in the race as well. So let's tidy up that form. Just a one-horse race. Salino gives it. Graeme, put your handicapping hat on. That's your benchmark, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an outstanding performance, is it, from the winner? But it was pretty good.
The Grand Vizier. Let's concentrate on him just quickly. What I'm thinking is he in the Cesarewitch if it absolutely bogged it down.
Yeah, he would love it, wouldn't he, if it came up really, really testing. But I do just feel that he's exposed a few flaws in some non-stayers there and managed to. I mean, he's well beaten really by the winner, and
he's 16 for the Ces, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it.
Too short.
Yeah,
I say 6 points bigger than the
he's
joint
going
fast.
back through the field here. I mean, if some of those in behind had stayed, stayed, he might have finished 6th or 7th. But I think what's happened is they've all come to go past him, and then they've not
He's just
seen out the
kept
trip,
on.
and he's just carried on at the one pace and just run on into sort of 3rd or 4th. You could maybe be a bit flattered by that.
A lot of people probably having a terrible day up until this point if you follow the market leaders. Well, you're in at the 4th time of asking, will it be another favourite going in the final race here? Then let's move on to the 3:45. It is the aforementioned Flying Scotsman. Get your comments in, see where the panellists are going. But for now, let's go to Barry Orton and see where he's playing. Because again, we've got another hot pot, Barry.
Yeah, currently a 6-4 chance. One ruler. Spy Catcher is a 9-2, an 8-1. Bar the two of them at the top of the market. The horse I like and I thought would run well is Royal Scimitar. Now I backed it in the Acom, geared up one that was quite impressive as well. Geared up. I just don't. It was a race that really didn't capture my imagination, but just going back to Royal Scimitar's win in Newbury when he beat Line of Departure that day. Obviously, Line of Departure franked the form somewhat yesterday when he won the sales race, but just at the price, I'm going to have a few quid on him in the place market, please. Graeme.
You wanted to call him Kev, didn't you then?
We'll just go
in
traditional.
The place market.
I was going to call him G-Rod, but I didn't know whether we're familiar.
No, it's all, he loves
it.
it.
Familiar, maybe.
No, lots of people know you as G-Rod, don't they?
Yeah, we're just doing the traditional place.
He doesn't play golf, by the way, I don't imagine.
Yeah, but we're going to set our own odds here. So I think it's currently about 3.15 in the place market, in the three places. Yep. We're going to look to back it at around 3.34, 3.34, I think we'll get done at. You'll find that sometimes in the place markets, when the win market gets a bit more livelier, you'll get matched at a bigger price in the place market. So you don't necessarily always have to take what's on offer. Set your own odds as you like it, and especially in the place market. So we're going to look to have 25 quid on that. Oh, he's putting in the 5 there, was he? Yeah.
I thought you were getting very confident. I thought you sounded confident there, Barry.
we just go for the 25 quid there, please, Graeme. Yeah,
25, 3.35 to be placed.
To be placed, yeah.
Whenever there's been an error on this show on the trading, it's usually worked out. So some more pressure on you there, Graeme Robin. That Newbury form catches the eye, doesn't it? Let's concentrate on this horse a little bit. After Line of Departure won, the horse that he beat at Newbury on his debut. What did you think went wrong with him then in the Acom, Barry? What was the...
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just all happened a bit quick for him in the Acom. I think he'll come on for that as well. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear the guys' thoughts on the panel about the Acom. What sort of race you thought that was. I was a bit disappointed. Although geared up, done it well, didn't he? But
yeah, well, there is one man on the panel that does have a strong view about the Acom. And Enzo, you can...
Yeah, I thought it was a shocking race, Barry, that Acom this year. I thought it was terrible. I mean, I tipped up Royal Scimitar in that, and he ran, I thought, pretty poorly, really.
Are you one of these punters, though, that jumps straight off a bad run? Because we've seen some forgiving. We were talking about forgiving punters yesterday, Barry, weren't we? And it paid off to be forgiving yesterday.
Yeah.
Are you one of those that's like, I should have kept the faith? No.
Forgiveness.
No, you're harsh.
Yeah.
No room for sentiment.
I just can't find it.
Spycatcher was ahead of him as well. Do you think Spycatcher just had the run of the race that day or something?
I think so, yeah. He was the one who led, wasn't he, early on? And then, I don't know, I just think the whole race just smacks that it was pretty average, and I want to be against those horses from that race. I'm going to go this Lanakash here, who won obviously completely different form line. Won really impressively, I thought, first time. Looked like it's going to improve from run 1 to run 2 as well.
He's been desperately weak in the market.
I know. Jim Crowley, though, not having all the people done the Jim Crowley multiples this morning. Think it's going to be like York again, didn't they? I think he had all these fancy rides. It's not happened for him so far, is it?
Going back to the Acom, I just quickly whizzed on the last 10 winners of it. Okay, Phoenix of Spain went on and won an Irish Guineas. That's about all he did after that. No, I said that's about all he did. Apart from that, there's not a lot of horses that you recognise. Wells Fargo, of course, for Tim Easterby turned out to be a good stayer, but Dutch Connection was in there. But it's often a bit of a red herring race, isn't it? But not according to Barry Orr. That's where you want to be. The market, though, Barry, this one ruler had the sectionals boys purring after his Sandown run. And what sort of slide have we seen on this horse? I mean, he's rated £9 lower than Spycatcher, for example, according to the handicapper. He's drawn in 1 as well, which could be, we've been saying that might be a slight disadvantage. I think he will be a slight pace angle. If I was William Buick, I'd probably just try and get on with it. But Barry, there's been loads of money for this chat. How much of the market is he taking out in a minute?
Best backed horse of the day, it has to be said. At 7-2, there was 288 quid done. Yeah, 4.5, and all the way down to what he's trading at now, which is currently around the 6-4 mark, one ruler. So, yeah, you'd have to say pre-race so far, there's 180 grand matched on the market and 90 of it's on him. So over 50% nearly of the market bet on him so far pre-race. And I would expect that to continue throughout because he has been very well touted, that's for sure.
And am I right in thinking that Lanakash has gone completely the other way?
Yeah, very much so. Lanakash out to 8.8 now, having been matched at a low of around 5. So it was a 4-1 chance, but completely friendless, doubled in price now. Spycatcher, a few quid knocking around for that. That's the only one they really want against the favourite. Was matched at a high of 6 and is in around to 92 now.
It was a massive jump up from Spycatcher when second in the A Cup. Only one maiden in the last 10 years has won this. Be Ready, who just had the second coming in and smashed him in the betting that day. Roger Varian, the trainer of Lanacash, there are 3 runners in this, 2 have won. So he won it in 2011 with Ektiham, it was a very good horse, and Malatham, who we saw at Royal Ascot, of course. He was a tasty little horse. Very fast ground that day last year. It was a small field because of that. And Wichita was beaten in it, you remember, before he came out to running all the classics this year and all that sort of stuff. I like One Ruler. I think that I saw they were expecting him to win on his debut at Sandown.
Did he bump into a Tonian that day?
He bumped into a Tonian.
Tonian looked like an absolute monster and then won again, didn't he?
He went and won the Solario Stakes, and on the same day that One Ruler came out and won the Maiden G, and One Ruler was quicker than Etonian that day. Now, you can't always compare them because they go different paces and things like this, but like I say, it had the sectionals boys pairing. You with the Fav?
I thought the Fav would win, but it's just not really a bet for me at the price.
11-8, is it? That's what
If you had 3 tips that had won during the day, would you be talking differently now? Would you be going all
What do you mean
in on this?
if I hadn't seen Sacred beaten after
Sacred was the one you're struggling to recover from. I mean, you went for Island Brave in the last man.
I just think he is the most likely winner. When you're looking at 2-year-olds, obviously not a lot to go on form-wise. There's a couple of things that I always look for, and one is how the market sees them on their previous runs, and One Ruler's been strong in the market on both starts. So he was hot favourite first time out, like you say. Got beaten by Etonian, bolted up at Sandown next time, and last time out he was quite strong in the market against Maximal.
Maximal has boosted that form for the money buyers out there.
And Latest Generation, the third. Latest Generation's one. Was third, wasn't it? One
that might have been a little double today. There might be a few people who've got some money rolling onto One Ruler here.
So you don't want to be taking the 11-8ish about One Ruler 6-4. What do you? Where are the prices?
So along similar lines, the other thing I like is a decent speed figure, and One Ruler's obviously got that. It was a good time when he won at Sandown. But along similar lines, Lanacash at Ascot first time out, he was sent off 6-4 favourite first time up for an Ascot maiden. Having done a bit of handicapping in the past, I know that the way that a lot of handicappers work out these races and how they might give these horses a rating is going through and just seeing what previous Ascot maidens are like, and then what sort of horse they throw up. And an Ascot maiden would generally just throw up a better class horse than a Catterick maiden or somewhere like that, for example. So the fact that Lanacash is going off at 6-4 for an Ascot maiden, that suggests to me that Connections must think he's fairly useful. And of course, as you say, Roger Varian's had a decent record in the race, but he is on the drift, isn't he?
Yeah, well, only one horse apart from him hasn't been out since. That was called Freddie Flintshire, but the rest of them has, and no winners so far from that race.
Do you think that the reason he's drifting might be because there's so much money for the Fav?
Possibly, although it's Roger Varian and Jim Crowley, isn't it? So, I don't know. Out to, what is he now, Barry, or did you say Lanacash was at the moment?
8.8 the last time I looked at the win. I'm just checking our place bet there. He is now 9.
Yeah, that's about double what I was expecting, basically. So, I don't know, you shouldn't worry about drifters too much, should we? We talk about this a lot. Paul Keeley, when he's in, says back it more, don't increase your confidence. If you fancy it, that Junkanoo that we had at Glorious Goodwood went out to 100 to 1, I was thinking I was mad. It can play with your mind, can't it? And there's nothing worse than not backing a horse because it's drifted when it goes and wins.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the worst thing in racing, that.
Oh, yeah, it's most frustrating because you miss out on a much bigger winner, didn't you?
So, Enzo, you're Lanacash.
Yeah, I'm Lanacash, yeah. There's another horse, this Apollo 1. He ran in that Solario Stakes, didn't he, as well?
You know what's going to happen, don't you? You know what's going to happen.
Mr. TMQ. Yeah, might finish second, but I think it's worth a mention at around 10 to 1. It ran really well in the Solario against the Tony, and new mandate as well. I was quite impressed by his win last time. Frankie Dettori for Rafe Beckett.
Apollo 1 is just about the highest rated horse in this, along with Spycatcher. Why? Because they've run in group company, and he's got form with the Tony, hasn't it? Peter Sharambalos, he's a big runner for him. Tom Marquandon, social comment coming up. Commander comes back on Von Roerich. I think Apollo 1 is a bit tasty. Good timing, boys in the gallery. Tom Marquandon to finish in first place. This was my big bet of the day. Yeah, again... This is one of the things that I can't really work out. When people say in racing, it's a proper cliche this, if it was trained by anyone else. The fact of the matter is it's not trained by anyone else. If it was trained by Gosden, it might well have won its first 3 starts or something like that. You don't know, do you? So I'm never with that saying, but is this, having said that, is this one of those?
Usually used in the context of when a horse is kind of underrated by the market. that maybe it has won, but because it's not in a very fashionable stable, it's underrated.
Well, this is the whole thing with Pile Driver, isn't it? You know, people are saying, well, if Pile Driver wasn't trained by William Moore, then he would be favourite. But now he is favourite anyway.
Yeah. And he is trained by William Moore.
He is trained by.
So it's absolutely mad, isn't it?
But anyway,
it's like saying if you're with Dave Orton, you know, you're not. I'm not Tony Ennis or Graeme, Rodway or Barry Orr.
This Apollo 1 thing, this is Boonga Regatta, isn't it? The mare.
Oh, he has had some in those colours, isn't it?
In those colours. And
Newmarket July course.
Remember Newmarket July course on the Newmarket nights when the crowds were going wild when Boonga Regatta would just. She used to just tear off
in front, didn't she?
a million miles an hour.
Always ridden by a lady jockey as well, wasn't she?
And sometimes she would just capitulate, and sometimes they wouldn't see which way she went.
Yarmouth is a yard you associate Peter with as well.
And Apollo 1 is a very similar sort of horse to Boonga Regatta, although probably already better in that he's already at listed level and he's only a 2-year-old. But the only thing about that Sandown was a very good run at Sandown. But my big worry about it is it was I don't think it was the strongest of race, bar the front two.
Italian has been talked up as a proper Guineas horse, isn't it? So we'll
bar the front two, and he got an easy lead there. Yeah,
it wasn't a bad maiden that he won, or a novice stakes, I should say, at Newmarket.
It was an auction, though, was it? Was it a novice auction?
Yeah, it was. It was, but there have been some placed horses out of it, and like Olympic Theatre that was. Third in it, Keep Right On as placed against. I think he was supposed to.
I would absolutely love it if Apollo won this because I love this.
And what did you say about Tom Marquand? Second. What's going to happen? Subi 1-1-1-1-1. So listen, Tom, we're not bashing you at all. We think you're doing everything absolutely right. It will change. What about new mandate for Rafe Beckett? Frankie Dettori coming in.
Few quid for that match at a high at 19.
Rated just 89, Barry. So they could have gone anywhere with this chap, couldn't they? Really.
Yeah, very much so, and plenty of money for it as well, knocking around. Yeah. Like I said, 19 into 11.
Okay, looking at his form, all 7 furlongs so far, but does seem to be going in the right way. Another social coming onto the screen. Loving the social comments today. Dave Winder, good to have you back on. Last try of the day, Spycatcher. Felt its inexperience, got it beat last time at York. You think it's a rubbish Aiken? What about you? What did you think of the Aiken?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a great race either.
Barry did. So, but Barry, why is Spycatcher not going to uphold the form with your selection, Royal Scimitar?
I wasn't sure about the Aiken. I wasn't sure about this race even. Like, plenty of these could take a step forward, but the favourite's going to take a lot of beating. But I just thought Royal Scimitar, when I keep going back and looking at that run and that win in Newbury, I was really impressed with him. So I think he's better than what he showed in the Aiken. Yeah. But you're just taking that on trust and on good instinct, really. It's nothing factual. That's the way it is a lot of times with these 2-year-olds.
They sort of pulled clear the first 3 that day, you'll remember. The third, Aesthete, hasn't run so well since. In fact, it run too bad to be true. But Line of Departure, we saw yesterday on the show, exactly what he's done. He's one of his next 3. Alchemate came out very impressive at Goodwood for Marcus Dragoni. And a horse called Bulbazy that was in 5th, that one next time as well. And Mujbar all the way down in 8th, that one next time up. Big step forward. So it was a race with substance. You can see what Barry's on about. Looking, you know, if you don't like one, there's got to be an angle there somewhere. Clive Cox and Adam Kirby, they've got a habit of taking out these races in the Golden Horde colours as well. Stall 1 for the Fav then. Enzo, let's go back to you on this. You said it's a horrid draw.
Yeah, but having said that, you know the winner earlier on came out, you better believe it. It came out at 2, but obviously there was no Stall 1 because the Learjet was out.
So does it count?
Does it count? I don't know. Just go back to that race, by the way. They spoke to Rowan Scott, but they decided there was no offence committed, so no punishment for Rowan Scott. They did say the horse did drift across and hampered Steel Bull, but decided there was no offence.
Is that because he didn't get his whip out, do you think? Because they often, that's one of the first things they look at in the stewards, isn't it? But, so, I don't know, is that even worse, you could say, isn't it? Sure, he needed to correct it,
I thought he was trying to sort of pull the horse the other way. I thought he was.
Did you? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I thought I saw a bit of a beeline to the other side.
And if you I think you're being harsh on young Rowan.
I think if your connections and you're looking at the Fav's last run, Sacred at York, am I wrong? I don't know. I thought she shirked a little bit. I did say that pre-race. Now, you think she's a bit of a shirker now, don't you?
I was a bit disappointed she didn't win there. She was definitely in front last 100 yards. But generally speaking, and this is the truth, I know that you do get the odd rogue, but generally speaking, I do think most horses are genuine. And it's just a case of getting them into the right races at the right level, and most of them can do the business.
Yeah,
I think you're being a bit unfair to her there, Dave. And I did layer myself.
I didn't back her today. I did back her at York, however, and I know that Miss Amulet at Kevin Condon's is a good horse, but I don't know. I put it out there. And she came there to win it. I'm listening, I'm in the seat for a reason, guys.
But the reverse argument is, had the winning post been 100 yards earlier,
But it wasn't.
and she wins by a short edge, you probably say, oh, she's proved there that she's really tough and game, got up in a close finish, and you're making the opposite
You're
argument.
showing a lovely side to yourself here because you've burnt your fingers on it, and yet you're still in
Very
a forgiving
forgiving,
mood, which
yeah.
is loving, isn't it? So let us know. Were you with Sacred? Are you going to give her another chance? We've got one more race coming up. Just looking, I can see William Buick is in the paddock with Charlie Appleby. A couple of horses are going down. What price now? One ruler, Barry. Is it hardening?
At the moment, 236. Yeah, so he's hardened it to 11 to 8 now. Spycatcher is currently around the 5 to 1 mark, 8 to 1. Lanquesh, and New Mandate is just a little over 11 to 1. Or 10 to 1, 11.5.
I think the story of this market is almost the weakness of Lancash, isn't it? Connections won the race last year. Prior to today, on an absolute roll. Jim Crowley looked like he had a great book of rides, like we saw at York when he rode that 4-timer. The horse who got beaten in the maiden, I can't remember his name, came out and won recently, did it at a short price. Was it the other day? I can't remember. But it was when they're rolling over these. So I thought, was this too defensively priced with that in mind? I don't know if you're traders.
Yeah, possibly. I just think that there's so much money for the Fav, and it's just keep coming. That's one of the main reasons that there's such a weakness among Lancash. But sometimes as a punter, you sit and you go, God, there's so much money for this. This team might just win, you know.
Yeah. He made all, didn't he, of course, at Sandown, one ruler. And like I say, first time out, they really came for him.
Do you think
he got too far back?
Do you think they're going to attempt the same tactics here? Do you think he's going to just bounce
From
it
stall
out?
one, I think he's got to be positive, isn't he? That's one way to negate stall one, I think.
Yeah,
You're not looking
if he
for any
goes on,
cover.
because if you try and sort of drop him in, he's going to be without cover again, isn't he, on that flank?
Yeah.
So I wonder if William might press him forward here. But then there's a danger, isn't there? If you do that, you do too much. And you only part of the
I'll
race.
tell you what, boys, we're watching him going down his corner of my eye. He looks absolutely...
He looks like a bit of a beast.
Superb. And they do know what they're doing with 2-year-olds, as we've seen in the last couple of years, these boys in blue. I'm just looking for the other pace. So the one that might spoil him, if you like, is Apollo 1. You'd be looking at that, the aforementioned. Tom Marquand tried to make all in the Solario Stakes. New Mandate, Frankie Dettori. Expect him to be up there a little bit. I think Royal Scimitar, I think, might get slightly more positive ride. And Thank You Next, one of the outsiders for Richard Hannon as well. What about Quiet Assassin? She's quite interesting for Adrian Keatley and now Kieran Fallon, one of the stories of the season. Adrian Keatley been training over here for a little while now.
Yeah.
It was really well backed.
Beverly, wasn't she? They landed a bit of a gamble that day, I think.
Is that a different trainer? Who am I talking about?
No, Adrian Keatley's over here. You're
Yeah,
right.
he is over here,
He's
isn't
up
he?
in the north, up in Morton, isn't he?
That went overlooked that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people. In fact, a couple
I was going to
well-known
go up
people.
and see him for Sky.
Irish Raider. Were you?
Yeah, it was just when COVID started. We were planning in to go and visit him in April to go have a chat with him.
He had a terrible season, 2 back. I know someone had a horse with him, and he virus in the yard and all that sort of thing. He's moved over, but he lands touches all over the place. And this was a touch, wasn't it, at Beverly? I know because I backed a fancied horse in the race that she toppled. I think on a day. I backed to Johnson horse, can't remember the name of it. But look, she's in 11. I wouldn't be surprised for this onto a winner syndicate. They're one of the better syndicates out
I
there.
mean, you don't want to get too dogmatic against horses that are trading at 100 on Betfair because they go and win. You look like a real plonker. But
we have a breaking story, guys. Rob Lee in the studio, in the gallery, has just come into my ear. We're talking about Shane Cross, of course. If you've not heard so far, you haven't looked at the Racing Post website, Shane Cross, Joseph O'Brien stable jockey, due the ride on Galileo Chrome. He has tested positive for COVID-19. And the fallout from that, Tom Marquand, we were saying earlier, doesn't have a ride in the St Ledger. Guess what? He does now. Joseph O'Brien has snapped him up. Barry, I want to come to you with this. Tom Marquand on Galileo Chrome. Big story.
Yeah, it certainly is. I feel really bad for Shane Cross because he's put in a lot of work to get where he is, and I know there's going to be plenty of other chances for him for sure. But you'd have to feel sorry for the kid. That's it.
On that note, Barry pulled the plug there. The producer's late, saying something controversial.
do you think this is a perfect storm for Galileo Chrome, though?
Yeah.
You can just see after the race. Just the whole
You fancy him, don't you?
I do fancy. I just
know,
see
we were
after the
talking
race
earlier.
now, thinking, sometimes they go after the race. Oh, the big story is
Yeah.
that Shane Cross has missed out on a winner, but Tom Marquand, who's had 10 seconds in a row, has suddenly broken his big long losing run. Is it a perfect storm?
And it's the Group 1, the classic in
And
waiting,
the fact
isn't
that
it?
English Kingy would have ridden his old friend.
Yeah, English.
Goes to
Yeah,
France
absolutely.
instead. Big story.
So Barry, there's the story. So I guess that Joseph has just looked at the jockeys on the sidelines. I guess Barry, and he's got the best of them.
Yeah, very much so. It doesn't take it wouldn't take Sherlock Holmes to try to eke out who the best was sitting in the weigh room, and they've definitely got him for sure. Hopefully, you can put Enzo's hoodoo to rest tomorrow in style. But it's a terrible bad break for Shane Cross to catch. So. Unfortunate for him, but like I said, loads of other chances for him, I'm sure. And it's fair to be said, the horse has been the best backed anti-post market all week. He was as big as 20 and 16, and I think last time I looked, he was a 6-1 chance.
Yeah, he looked a proper horse, didn't he, when he won last time out? That was at Navan Barry, wasn't it? And he's going to stay no problems. And on a line through Pista, a collateral line of form, there's a big boost there, I think, for him. So listen, he's one of mine. Actually, should we go for 1, 2, 3 for the leisure? I've been wanting to do this all show, I'm just reminding myself. I've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've got Santiago on top. All right, I've got Galileo Chrome following him home, and I've got Mohican Heights in third. That's my 1, 2, 3. Enzo.
Very, very similar. Santiago first, definitely.
I think he'll go off Fav in the end, Santiago.
With Dettori it's another Scorpion, isn't it? Dettori riding for the Ballydor boys. Second place was the one I wasn't sure about. I've got Huckham second and Galileo Chrome third.
Graeme Rodway. The trifecta, just nice and easy for you.
Well, we're all on the same horses, but in different order.
Are we? So there's something to it. Yeah,
I think Galileo Chrome could win, and then Hookham will be second, and Mohican Heights could run into third.
Wow.
I like
putting a line through Pile Driver and Santiago.
I don't fancy Pile Driver much at all. I'm not a Santiago man, but I just like this idea of being Mohican Heights. Right, there's been a bit of money for him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that far behind Pile Driver in the Derby. I think Pile Driver was 11th, Mohican Heights was 12th. And you know,
it was just a run you had to forget, didn't you? Because Serpentine went all the way, and you looked at the back, and I backed him in that. He's supposed to be working.
I can just see this like it's Jamie Spencer's on it, and he'll hold it up out the back, and
he's got the pedigree to stay.
Definitely stays.
Yeah, he definitely stays.
I just can. There's only one thing that I can see Mohican Heights doing in the last furlong, and that is coming home well. Whether he's going to be close enough to win, I don't know, but I'm fairly certain he's going to be finishing his race well, and that's what you want to be on.
He just looked like another Spanish mission to me when he came back at Ascot, the winner of our Doncaster Cup. Who wins the Leger, Barry?
I fancy Hookham.
A lot of love for Hookham.
I think Dawn Patrol won't be far away.
That's interesting.
I liked him in the Irish Derby, a huge price. He ran really well. He was a bit unlucky. Got stopped.
Behind Pista, wasn't he? Yeah.
Pista, who franked the form yesterday, and I'd say he'll come on a ton for that run. And I like Mohican Heights as well. I thought he'd be there or thereabouts. So
tell you what, we might have a little team bet going on here, might we? Mohican Heights, it could be a...
If Galileo Chrome wins, Joseph O'Brien, has anybody else ever ridden and trained a Leger winner before? That'd be a bit of a shout.
I'm going to suggest probably not.
He won it on landing...
Well, not for a long time.
Leading light. They
are going in, guys. They are going in. So, Barry, anything late in the market, or is it all about this Fav 1 ruler?
Yeah, it's all about the Fav, and Spycatcher now very weak. Apollo 1, money come for that, it's into 8-1.
Okay, superb stuff. Listen, final race here. Day 2 on Racing Post Live. Day 3 up at Townmoor. 2 days to come. But the final race, it's a sizzler. Will we see something Frankel-esque in the Flying Scotsman? Over to Tony Ennis for the call.
Here we go. Yeah, the great horse won this, didn't he, before Frankel? Could one ruler be the new superstar? We'll find out in a few moments. We're set for the Flying Scotsman listed race. 7 furlongs, they break away. A little bit slow as Darvell chased along, leaving the gates. Favourite got out well, but we'll drop in. I think William Buick is not going to be positive. Apollo 1 leads them early on. So in second place, Fountain Cross. Right up there is Darvell. Royal Scimitar's got a nice sit in 4th place. Lanacash likewise in 5th. Buick is trying to put this horse to sleep, one ruler. He's only got quite a sass in the rag behind him at this stage. Thank You Next precedes him. Spycatcher's quite keen in midfield. Market must be getting quite lively now, Barry.
Yeah, favourite, interestingly, is into 2.25, 5-4. Outside of that, Lancash is currently 11-2.
They must be so confident with this chap, mustn't they, to pull him out like this. But for me, Graeme, I think he's been given too much to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on him, I must admit. But plenty of people in running want to be, because as Barry says, he's very, very strong.
Lanacash has got a lovely sit, hasn't he, Enzo?
Yeah, Lanacash is going well. Midfield. Also midfield still is Spycatch. It's still, though, Apollo 1 in front for Tom Marcon and Peter Charalambus. Royal Scimitar's coming. Lanacash is coming. One ruler's been asked now by Buick.
He's eating the ground now, guys.
He's coming, one ruler, isn't he? But he needs to pick up again. Here he comes. Also there, Royal Scimitar. Lanacash is right
What's this
there
on the far
too.
side?
Over on the far
Is this
side.
new mandate?
Yeah, it's new mandate. It's
Wow,
trying to
one
squeeze
ruler's
through.
getting chopped up. Lanacash is going for
He's
it.
beat the favourite.
Oh.
Lanacash has it. Go on,
Ooh.
Jimbo. Lanacash in front to new mandate in second. Royal Scimitar in third. Oh, Crowley, keep him straight. Go on, Jim.
We've got
Jim
the Royal
Crowley,
fan.
Lanacash is
Frankie's got the
Frankie,
Royal.
new
Come on,
mandate.
Jim.
Oh, he's going to get done by Dettori. New mandate. Rafe Beckett. It's not Jim Crowley's day, is it, today?
It just isn't. Beaten again on a shorty, Jim
Oh,
Crowley.
Lanacash.
I'll tell you what, that was an absolutely fascinating race. And another, he looked like he was in trouble, one ruler, didn't he? But he absolutely got mullered by Jim Crowley there, William Buick. He came across him and the two have gone clear. New mandate. If you followed the gambling, Barry Orr on the market suggested there'd been plenty of money of this. They could have gone to a nursery off 89. One ruler's coming back again at the finish. Surely the tactics were wrong on that. We will talk about it. Let's get the story of the market. The final race here on RP Live. Where did they go, Barry?
Yeah, one ruler hit a low of even money for nearly 400 quid. 1.20 for the for Lanacash. Fives on Lanacash in running for a right few quid as well. They're the traded short in running, but
They've all ended up on the far side, haven't they, Barry? And
yeah, you'd have to say it's a good ride by Frankie.
oh, it's a beautiful ride. Yeah, that rail helped. Royal Scimitar ran really well, Barry. Did we get him in the
just
places?
worried out of it close home. I think he's fourth.
Fourth, yeah, Royal Scimitar. Thank you, next day, well, I get fifth. They were clear of the others, but yeah, I mean, I think he was beat one rule. I think he looked like he burnt himself out.
I think that mid-race move, Graeme, Rodway, has probably cost him. But the fact he's coming back, why did they take him back?
The ride was, I thought, was
The result on
peculiar,
screen, guys. New mandate wins then, 8.5 to 1, 17 to 2. Lanacash called by the guys in the studio, Graeme Rodway and Tony Ennis. I hope you back that each way or in the place market. And one ruler. Oh, best backed horse of the day, according to Barry Orr. A little bit unlucky in the final furlong, but did they get the tactics wrong? I'm going to say for one they did. That mid-race move that he had to make, 'cause they hadn't burnt off in front, had they really?
No, I think he had to make his ground, didn't he, at the hardest part of the race. When the race was really quickening, he had to make his ground at that point.
It was an impressive move as well,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it was a good move. It looked like he was going to come through and win, didn't he? But I just think he used all his petrol.
Do you know
hasn't he?
what? Frankie Dettori, will watch that back, watch your replays, what genius he is. I know we keep saying this, but he just waited for them to play their hands, didn't they? Lanacash greenness.
Yeah, and also Jim Crowley, he's had to pull him off the rail, didn't he? Because
He's gone right across,
yeah,
and that's why I said he carved him up, because I'm sure Jim could probably do much
I'd
about
say
it.
going forward, Lanacash is the one I want to take out that race, because winning his second run as well, wasn't it? New Mandate's had 3 runs. He's a bit more battle-hardened, I thought, the winner. New Mandate.
It's quite funny because we were criticising, well, not criticising, but suggesting maybe Jim Crowley might have ridden the race earlier in the day wrong by going to the far side rail.
Yeah.
And here he has gone to the far side rail again and stuck with it.
Trouble, you know.
He is in trouble. I tell you what, he hasn't done Frankie any favours
He's almost
either.
put Frankie over the rails, hasn't he? He's gone right across there.
Over the rails is over the rails, even for this show. Even for this show, that's a tad dramatic.
I didn't read the no exaggerating.
So listen, new mandate takes it out. Rafe Beckett has his day in the sun. Bruce Millington, he's on a camping trip at the moment. King Rafe's biggest supporter. Bruce, were you with it? Bruce Millington returns on Sunday. Takes it out. Frankie Dettori and Rafe Beckett. Not an association we talk about much. We're watching it again on the replay. We can see in the corner of our eyes. They come down the middle again. Apollo 1, Tom Marquand, Darvel up there as well. Scimitar, we thought he might be ridden a bit more positively. I tell you what, Spycatcher's disappointing, isn't he, for one of our viewers out there? Every chance, I think. It starts developing about 2 furlongs out. The way, Graeme, that he's side through one ruler, you're thinking he's got Lanacash at it at this point. And you're thinking, right, OK, on away, you're that confident, they know what they got. Tactics wrong.
The funny thing is that the winner's actually come from virtually the same position as one ruler, but he's made his move a lot later than one ruler. One ruler makes that big mid-race move. Frankie just watches him do it, sits behind him, and then comes up the far side rail and has him for dinner. And it's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, and has him for dinner. So there we go, final race on a fantastic Friday. We've had that Friday feeling. We've given you a few winners, hopefully, along the way. It's been great fun. So before we sign off, Barry Orr, you're going off to do TalkSport and football at the weekend, but you'll still be watching, no doubt, and you will be watching the St Ledger. Who wins? Remind us. Hookham?
Yeah, I fancy Hookham to win the St Ledger. Yeah, and obviously I think that Dawn Patrol will run well, so I'm going to have a few quid on him in the place market.
OK, so a shorty and a biggie. Tony Ennis, remind us, your 1, 2, 3. Keep the market up, guys, if we can.
Yeah, I'm with Santiago. I think Hookham will just be out battled. It'd be like to be a replay of that race. Dettori just edging out Jim Crowley. It'll be an action replay of New Mandate and Lana Cash.
And what about Tom Marquand on Galileo Crime? Second?
I'm going to go third this time, Tom. It's the new sequence.
He was absolutely odds on, and Mohican Heights, myself and G think might be a bit of a buzzer in that.
Yeah, I think Mohican Heights could definitely reward each way support, and he might even win. But Galileo Chrome is my idea of the winner, and I think Hookham will run well. Yeah, we're all on the same horses, aren't we?
We've got the rough, just in the right order. The punters would like to know. You come back on the show, your first time since Cheltenham. You've enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, it's been great. It's obviously a shame that we've got no fans, but
you've done the preview for the Ledger in the paper tomorrow. That's going to be available about 6 o'clock on your members section.
Yeah, all about why Pile Driver won't win the Ledger. So I hope I'm not wrong.
You're right.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Willie Moore won't be liking
Why do
this
people
one.
think it's certain to stay? I don't get that.
Well, he's won the Great Voltager. It's the trial, isn't it?
It's
He wasn't stopping at the end, was he?
It's not a mile 6 and 122 yards.
Do you remember when Snow Fairy ran in the St Ledger? That's always the horse that I told anyone that wanted to listen that Snow Fairy was the best horse in the Ledger. She was, but you're right about what you say about the Town Muir. It does suit closers, doesn't it?
The funny thing about it is that the beaten horses in the Ledger recently have actually got a better record than the winners.
Stradivarius.
There was a hot Ledger, wasn't there, where they all came out of the
Crystal Ocean.
Yeah, they were all in that, weren't they?
Yeah, that was who was the grey horse for Ballydor that won that and didn't go on?
Capri.
Capri.
No, sorry, I mean the beaten horses in the Voltager.
Oh, I see.
The beaten horses in the Voltager have got a better record in the Ledger than the winners.
One's going to France. He's not even turning up, is he? Island Chief. He's going on Sunday. English King.
I mean,
now
if you go back through the history of the race, the Voltager. The Voltager is littered with horses that won the Voltager and then got beaten in the Ledger by horses they'd beaten in the Voltager.
And in your piece, are you suggesting that's because he's peaked in the Voltager?
No, I'm suggesting that there's stronger stayers in the Voltager who are going to now improve over
because they're getting on
an
the town
extra
more.
furlong and a half at Doncaster, and he's actually going to go backwards for that test. So as a result, you're going to see a different result.
You can read that on the website and in your papers tomorrow at 6 p.m. The members section. Tom Segal's tips will be out there. The Sizzlers. Keith Melrose doing the Sizzlers.
Yes, Keith Melrose.
Betting editor as well. Tony Ennis, thanks for coming back and joining us. Becoming a bit of a regular here.
It's been good fun. Another horse I look forward to. Needs to win a race soon. Wichita. He's running a good race, isn't he? Ran really well against Pinatubo. And
he's going to love the ground, isn't he?
7 furlongs tomorrow. He's up against Limato and one master. I think he can win for Frankie on Wichita as well tomorrow.
Frankie on Wichita tomorrow.
Wins.
Yeah, okay,
Half
fair
stakes.
enough. All right, Barry Orr, been a great 2 days with you, Barry. You'll be back for the next show, which let me think will be Future Champions Day, I believe we're going to see you for.
Newmarket, is it? Yeah, look forward to that. It's been a great couple of days. Thank you very much for having me. Really enjoyed your company.
Enjoyed getting out of that room, Barry. Thanks to have you. Neil Hubbard coming in for Saturday and Sunday. Myself, Dave Orton then. Well, that's all we've got time here for on RP Live. Keep your comments coming in overnight. We'd like to see them. We'd like to give the feedback to the panellists as well. Facebook Live and on YouTube. Hashtag RP Live with the Betfair Exchange. What a day we've had. 2 more still to come. I'm Dave Orton signing off. Don't go anywhere. 1:30 tomorrow on Saturday. We'll be back with you.